Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Bulletproof Mindset, Scotland's #1 health, fitness and entertainment podcast. Today, I'm joined by a very special guest, Sean McCarthy. Now, there may be a misconception out there that Sean is an influencer. He absolutely isn't. And today, it was great jumping into his story of how he became a personal trainer, a coach, and how he actually grew his social media following. There is tons of great lessons in today's episode that I'm sure you're going to enjoy. And it was such a pleasure to have him on the show. Now, before we get into today's episode, you're going to see Sean's social media handles below, but with a great social media following, he also has some great sponsors that he works with as well. So check out the codes below. You've got a discount code for MyProtein, and you also have a discount code for Define, which is an activewear brand where you can get some awesome gym wear. The codes for both of them will be below, and that activewear is Define, which is a Glasgow-based brand. Now, we got a funny feeling there's going to be a lot of you guys and girls from Sean's social media, and this might be one of the first podcasts that you've listened to. So, look, I need a favour from you. It is totally free to do, but the best way to support this channel is by leaving a 5-star rating on Spotify. Again, totally free to do. If you're on Apple Podcasts, you can do it there. And if you're watching on YouTube, consider subscribing to the channel and leave a little comment below on what you thought on today's episode. Now, that is enough chit chat. Enjoy this belter of an episode, and I'll see you guys on the next one.
It's a long process, mate. It's like 7 months. It's basically just braces, but you can take them in and out. I need to take them out every time I eat, and then just put them back. I brush my teeth about 5 times a day with this, honestly, but it's a nightmare, mate. But I'd rather do it properly.
It's like braces?
It's basically braces. Right. It's going to move all my teeth, get them all kind of perfect, and then I'll get composite bonding, so that makes my gnashers absolutely beautiful.
So you can't put composite bonding on top of...
Nah, I went in ages ago to try and get like a consultation for composite bonding, and they were like, your teeth are going to McGinty, you need to get them sorted first. So
fuck. I was hoping I could, because my teeth, like... I wouldn't say it's an insecurity of mine, but you see everybody's getting nice teeth now.
It was for me. Like, everyone says to me, your teeth aren't that bad, but you're always your
worst enemy.
Your worst enemy, man. You think your teeth are absolutely crooked to the house, man. So I was like, I just need to get these sorted. But thankfully, mate, I'm not actually paying for them.
Oh, you know?
No, it's like a promo thing. So
so this is the actual way to get in this with you, with like how influencer lifestyle is affecting your life, and you also built up quite a good social media following, and rightly so. You've got fucking hilarious personality and that sort of stuff. But how did that even come about? Mate, let's maybe start there.
It was kind of like all kind of planned for the start, mate. Like I seen other people, and like how when they became a coach, I was like, how are people growing so fast? And it was always people that had a following first. So I was like, right, I'm going to try grow a following first, and that was my kind of plan. I was like, because it is very hard for a PT, a coach, just to build from the ground up.
Yeah.
So I was like, I started off just on TikTok. I was like, I'm going to grow a following first, and then it done wonders for gaining clients and stuff like that.
What was like the first content that you were creating?
Oh, it was absolutely rank rotten, mate. I'm not even going to lie. It was all kind of, this is what I was going to like talk about. It's like one kind of always ends up taking over the other. Like you kind of get caught up with like views, trying to go viral and stuff like that you end up forgetting what your main purpose is, what your main job is. Like I started off and it was just gym content, and then I veered away from that because I was just addicted to views.
Start doing dances and all that?
Nah, I wasn't as bad as that, mate, but ended up getting onto like just content that was just nothing to do with the gym. I was getting views, I was getting followers from it, and it still done well for me. It still got me a social following, but it was like at one point I was like, you can't even tell my PT when you go on my TikTok page, when you kind of go, like my Instagram's a lot different for like my TikTok. My TikTok, I just go on and
see what's
kind of spout, man, and just let off what's on my mind, mate. That's really it.
So how old are you then now?
22.
Right, so when did you start this journey? Like
literally about a year, just over a year ago, mate. Okay. So it was, the story of how I actually became like an online coach as well was quite a mad story, mate. It's quite a mad reason why I got into coaching. I always wanted to do it. So I was a joiner for 4 years, just fully qualified. I'd literally just fully qualified, got my papers, and then I'd tried to become a PT, like signed up to a course. I'd never paid the money, but I was like signing up, inquired for this course while I was in my second year of my apprenticeship, and then I just never had the time. I was just working that many hours. Was it actual time, or do you think there was maybe a wee voice in you going, probably, mate,
not ready?
Probably was the wee voice as well, mate. I was just scared to, because it's like the way you get brought up, like the old fashioned way is just get a job, stay in that job until you're 65, retire, and then that's you.
And especially apprenticeship, we're always drawn to like, that's you, your next 10 years is sorted in your career and all that sort of stuff.
That was it. It was like, right, this is your job, that's a job for life now. That's you, a joiner. And then I was just like, I don't want to do this the rest of my life. And then I was just like, right, I'm not going to have time to be able to do a PT course. I won't be able to do it. How am I going to do it? And then, yeah, just one weekend I was actually out on a night out, and then basically got into like a fight, broke my hand, if you can see the state of that hand. So that's actually how I became a PT, was by breaking my hand. I was on a night out rolling about with somebody, and then
what does it start over? Just something
it was actually due to my ex-bud. So that's girl I went with years ago, just a pure beef. I don't even know how that even happened, mate, to be totally honest, but I ended up fighting and then broke my hand, and then I was off work, couldn't train, and at that point I genuinely just thought my life was falling apart. I was like, I can't train, I can't go to my work. At that point I was having a lot of like financial stress. I know I was like, I'd just crashed my car, so everything was just like, I felt like I was at like rock bottom, man. I was like, a lot to dive into here, like, I was in my overdraft, I had my car payments coming off, my insurance had just went sky high, I'd broke my hand, I couldn't train, and training was the only thing that can help me at that point. And then I was like, right, what am I doing here? But then the only thing I did gain for that was time. I was stuck in the house, so I was like, right, this is a perfect chance to
so this happens about 18, 19?
No, this was literally last
you said
last February, mate. It was like Valentine's weekend. I went out, I was out with my ex,
turning point.
So I was out with my ex-girlfriend, and then met my other ex-girlfriend on the night out. So it was like Valentine's weekend of 2020.
You want to scrap me hard way?
Nah, thankfully, mate. But so that was 2020, 2023, February. That happened, and then,
It's great. It's mad when you think about that, because from the outside looking in, a short space of time, you've actually done quite the U-turn then.
Yeah, mate, it was like, life. And that's why I say like everything happens for a reason. I believe that genuinely happened for a reason. Like going on that night out, breaking my hand. Yeah. Like at that time, the boy who done it wanted to go and murder him. If he's probably watching us or whatever, genuinely wanted to go mental, wanted to kill him, was raging with the world. But now I'm like, if I seen the guy, I'd want to give him a cuddle. Do you know what I mean? Because it was a pivot point in my life. Genuinely, that is what kind of, it gave me more time. And then that was when I started making TikTok videos, because I was in the house. Because you know what it's like, mate, living in Glasgow, living in Scotland, mate, it's the most judgmental place in the world. I had actually started posting content, like, it was a couple of weeks before that, maybe even a couple of months before that, and posted a video, and it was like about my gym journey, and it was just photos and clips. Went into college the next day, get slaughtered for it, and took it down. I get slagged for it, and I was like, right, took it down straight away.
Oh, you're mad, isn't
and
it?
That was how when I was in the house, I was
first
like,
experience,
nobody can slag me here. I was like, it's just me in my house, I can just start posting videos. And then it just kind of, mate, it took off pretty quickly, mate, to be honest. Like as soon as I started like actually talking on camera and like showing a bit of my personality, like so many people were saying to me as well, like, mate, you need to start making content. You need to start making content, mate, like people would love you. And then went for it, mate, and it was genuinely the best thing I've ever done, mate.
Good. So there's actually a lot to dive into here, man. So I've done for what you can in terms of research. It's the first time we've obviously met each other and that sort of stuff. I know Nicky and things like that as well. But I remember Nicky saying to me ages ago, he's like, you should get Sean and John in. So you were doing like stuff together. And then I seen you pop up, and I was like, oh, there's a boy, and I give you a follow and that sort of stuff. Wow. So your content looks like you've been doing it for years, if I'm being honest, mate, like for what you've gone into.
It's like, I feel like it's heavy evolving, like as I'm evolving as well, like as I'm growing, and it's hard to keep up with, man. It genuinely is, mate. It's
a shift. It is a shift and a half,
mate. It's like a complete and utter job in itself, especially, mate. You know yourself, like being a coach as well. Like I feel like content is a whole other career in itself, mate. Like it's genuinely just, I feel like that's two separate jobs that I do.
Well, that's what I was saying to you before we started this. I think that's one of the reasons James stepped away, and I know for a fact all the listeners will be like, is that James back on the podcast? Because these are genuinely so alike, but he was torn because it was like this podcasting game it's like its own job itself. Yeah, and I must admit, I'm at a crossroads with it sometimes, but I think your why you do it kind of pushes you through it, doesn't it?
Mate, and that's like you just spoke about at the start, but like the kind of influencer lifestyle and all that, mate. It's like I've had so many points where it's like that could have maybe took over my coaching, but you just need to always remember, like, why did I start content in the first place? I started it to help my coaching business, to help other people start the gym. And I was like, that's what I just need to tell myself. Like, it's good getting views, it's good getting followers and all that, but what is the reason why I started it in the first place? I didn't start it to have 100,000 followers and walk about with a big chip on my shoulder. I didn't start it for that. I started it to build my coaching business, and that's what I'm going to continue focusing on. If views and followers come along with it, then that's obviously great, but the main purpose why I started it was to grow my coaching business.
So where I want to actually go back to is like, so you've always been in some sort of fitness. Like, what was school like for you? Were you
school, mate? That's where we're going to dive right into, mate. School was probably, anyone who's watching this, listening to this, mate, who went to school with me will back me up in saying I was probably the maddest wee guy you've ever probably met in school.
Could imagine, mate.
Yeah, so
where did you go? Where'd you grow up?
Paisley. I grew up in Paisley. Went to St Andrews Academy, and school was just a pretty mad time for me, mate. Like, I never even had a bad upbringing or anything like that, mate. Like, my mum and dad lived in a nice house, went on holidays, kind of got what I wanted, but it was still a scheme I grew up in, and it was hanging about with just
wrong folk.
The wrong folk, mate, and I was easy influenced. Like, I was a wee guy that just, right, go and do that, and I would just do it, and I'd be the one that ends up in baller. And high school was a pretty mad time, mate, getting kicked out and basically every single week, mate, and wasn't allowed in any of my classes, and it was a pretty bad time, mate, and my life at that point was only going like two ways. It was either like jail or I was probably going to end up dead, genuinely. So even getting that apprenticeship was like a massive moment for me.
So how does that come about then? So back a wee sec, like, what does your mum and dad do? So they're together, yeah?
Yeah, mate, my mum and dad are together, yeah.
So what was their careers like? Were they pushing you down a route, or like maybe not pushing?
Genuinely at one point it was just like they were wanting me to just get into,
right?
Yeah, because my life was kind of looking like it was just going to spiral out of control, and even at one point, like, I've had like a social worker and everything like that. Had a social worker, and at one point it was looking like I was going to get taken off my mum and dad and everything, because it was like it didn't look like they were even deemed fit to look after me. Like, it was kind of as bad as that at one point, genuinely. So the fact I even got that apprenticeship, I think they were just happy that I actually even got something, and that was a turning point for me. But it didn't completely help me, because it was still doing something that I didn't effectively want to do.
What did you like in high school? Like, what was were you good at anything, or was it just like,
I was good at getting into trouble, mate, to be honest,
entertainment,
man. But no, mate, I've always had a sports background. So used to play football. That was all I ever used to care about, was football. Played professional, pro youth with Celtic and stuff like that, and it was always football. Always wanted to be a footballer, and then I just fell out of love with that, until I obviously fell in love with the gym, mate. I've always had that sports background. I've always been in love with sport. Always knew I wanted to do something with it, and then I just ended up swinging a hammer about somehow. I don't know how that really even came about. But
what? So your journey through at high school. When do you stop playing football? Then that
was in about, what age are you in second year? Probably. I think I must have been 13, about 14, but it was actually mental, mate. I was playing like with Kilmarnock pro youth and just getting stoned like every single day. Was
this the first time you like experienced drugs and stuff like that?
Right. Obviously my mum and dad probably even listening to this, but they know themselves, because they caught me that many times, mate. Like, I was quite heavily involved in like drink and drugs for quite a very, very early age, like quite a worrying age, mate. But I feel like that's quite a normal thing, like
Scotland,
around my area in Scotland, mate. I was like, I felt like I always had a point to prove. I felt like I always had something to try and live up to, because I was hanging about with older boys. So I was always trying to play up and try and be somebody I wasn't. I was always just trying to fucking...
Do you think that's where you started to work on this kind of comedic, like to be the laugh of the group? And
yeah, mate, and I think it was because I always came from a point of being the weakest guy in the group. Right. I was literally, if you've seen a picture of me 3 years ago, I was like literally, hadn't even hit puberty yet, and I was about 2'2", and I was just trying to live up this act. I was always had to be the loudest guy in the room, the funniest guy in the room, to try and
get attention.
To try and get attention, to make up for the fact that I was the height of shite, basically.
How does that then? What does that look like? Does that just get worse and worse then progressively through it high school?
Yeah, mate. That was like the way it was in high school. Was I was still always the weakest guy in the room, and I always had this bravado, and even everyone, like, you know yourself, the teachers always used to say to me, like, that's no you, because I was different. If a teacher would sit me down and just talk to me myself, I was completely different to how I was as soon as my pals come around me. I was different with my mum and dad, and then as soon as my pals come around me, I would just change. I'd put on this bravado, and it was like I was a different person, mate. And I still do that to this day, mate. I'm so different.
You find elements
so different around different people, mate. It depends who I'm with. Like, I could go into a right deep chat with some people, and I like when I have a network of like good guys around me, and then I could hang about with a bunch of BAMs, and I'd turn into a BAM, mate. And it's genuinely, your environment's kind of everything, mate.
Well, so I think that's quite a key point, especially like Paisley's known for it's good bits and bad bits, like most places, isn't it? So, but that does play a big part. That's what I always said this on a previous podcast. One of my biggest worries of raising a kid is like doesn't matter how good a parent you are, doesn't matter what you do, like they make friends with
exactly
whatever it is in high school, and it can genuinely change their direction.
100%. Like my mum and dad couldn't have been better parents if they tried. Genuinely, like how they even put up with me and how they even, and I think that's like such a kind of rewarding thing for me as well, is just like knowing that where I've came from and how I used to be to where I am now, like hearing like how proud they are of me and stuff like that. It's like, as I was saying, my mum and dad couldn't have been any better parents, but it was just me, who I was hanging about with, the decisions I was making. It was pretty impossible for them to like drum it out of me. They couldn't have done anything else really, to be honest.
So how did you get the apprenticeship? Was that just like one of the mad open days at school and you applied for it?
I don't even know how I got picked, because there was actually like, I can't remember how many applicants there were. It was just like, it was the very first place I applied for. It was just at a point where I get told off school, like, you can't come back here next year. You need to get a job or you're gone, basically.
How did that feel at that time? Did you, because all your pals are kind of styling for school?
Mate, I was actually the first one out of all my pal group to get a job as well, which was mad as well, because I was always just,
seen
like,
that coming.
Mate, I was just the worst out of all my pal group, like in terms of getting into trouble and things that I was up to at the weekend and stuff like that. And then turned around and I was like, I've got an apprenticeship, and it was like, what? But yeah, just applied for one place. It was a company called Thomas Johnson. That was who I served my time with. I was with them throughout. Just applied for it and sat in the interview and just spoke a load of shit. Like, they were asking me, what'd you like doing at the weekends? I was like, oh, going to the cinema and stuff like that. But really, I was just
getting on it.
Getting on it, taking buckets and stuff.
Madness, isn't it? I think they all know that though. Like, see, when
exactly.
like getting like young folk with school, it's like, you just look for good characteristics, and I think probably what you've displayed through at your high school, like, you've got good characteristics.
Even when I was in that interview, mate, it was funny as well, because I had literally just got into baller like with a fight, and I had like this big scar above my eye. Right, so I went in with these stitches and this big scar above my eye, and I'm just sitting there like
no chance,
like a wee altar boy like that. I like
with your shirt and tie on.
Shirt and tie that my dad had to do for me. Sitting there like, I like going to the cinema, and I like just going down the park and stuff like that. But mate, it got me the job, didn't it?
No. Here it kick-started you like on this path. What? So you mentioned being in fights a couple of times. You've been in a few scraps then?
Mate. Yeah. So that was again, I just think down to me just trying to live up to something and try to make up for the fact that I was tiny, and I would always just pick fights, mate, and never win them. I was always just, I don't know why, I just kind of loved it back then, but that was just, again, like the kind of...
Was it feel like mouthing off at folk? And then,
mate, it was just like, again, the people I was hanging about with, like where I grew up, like what we used to do at the weekends, I was just a pure wee Ned, mate. That was all I was, and it was just like, all we wanted to do was just get on it and start fighting. That was kind of it, mate. And again, I'd never really won any. It was always just me that would end up getting in baller. I would always be the one that ends up getting lifted by the police. I would always be the one that ended up with a scar on my head. I would always be the one that ended up just getting baller. But because I didn't know how to say no. I didn't know how to just call it a night or whatever.
Was there ever any moments like after, like, because James kind of telling his story on the podcast, he's quite maybe no similar in terms of like getting into fights, but definitely getting into the wrong circles and just using that as an outlet for whatever it may have been. What was like the come down, that sort of stuff afterwards? Did that make you feel any different, or was it just, I can't wait to get on again? When did that cycle break?
I was just kind of stuck in a cycle with it, mate, and it was like, I don't know when, I can't even remember a point where it was like the penny dropped and I was like, right, I need to, the point where I said when I broke my hand and stuff like that was a big penny drop moment, because I was like, I was a bit more grown up. I had a lot more responsibilities. Back then I had no responsibilities. I was living with my mum and dad.
School holiday life.
I was just like, right, who cares, man? I'm still going to go to school tomorrow. And it was like, you felt like you were cool doing it. So like the more baller I got into it, was like,
did you get attention?
It was like another, it was like you kind of wore it like a bit of pride, as if like, I got lifted at the weekend, I get the sales at the weekend, look at this scar. Even that scar, I was like, I wore it like a pure thing of pride, honestly. Like, I was pure loved. Like, it was mental. It was just the way I was
programmed.
I was kind of programmed back then. It was like, I seen them as like war stripes, if you want. I just loved it. I just loved getting in baller, and nothing had ever really phased me. The penny never ever dropped back then. It wasn't until I had a bit more responsibility, I had a job, I had a car, then I was like, right.
So what's it like when you start getting money? Because that's really usually like, I remember, if I think back to like what has been like big wake, like penny mop moments of like, oh fuck, I'm an adult now, because it doesn't really hit you until something happens.
Mate, in terms of like actually just getting my first job and starting to get paid and stuff like that, I actually kind of had a job before that, but again, like that was another bad thing as well. I'd done the milk run
Oh, so did I.
Aye.
Yeah, that's character building, isn't it?
It was class, to be honest, mate. But again, that done me kind of no good because that started giving me money that I was just going and spending on, as you could imagine, just like drink, drugs and stuff like that.
You're rich at that point, isn't it? Because it's the tips, like, the doors.
Aye, a fiver was just about £100 to me back then. So I was getting paid like a decent amount of money. I wasn't even hardly getting any sleep. I was up like 3 nights a week, hardly going to school, smelling of cheese and milk. But I didn't care because I was getting a bit of money. And then it was like, that was the way I seen money back then. It was just to fund that kind of stuff. And then it wasn't until I obviously got my job and then it was like, had a bit of responsibility, like I said, like
to get up to work,
stuff like that. Yeah, I was like, right. But mate, I was never ever smart with my money, ever. And see, to be honest, to this day, I'm still not even the best with it. I'm still not even the best to like manage my money and stuff like that. But back then I was just never smart with it, ever. Like it was just kind of wage in, wage out, wage in, wage out. And it was just kind of wage to wage, like wage to wage, week to week.
What is it that you're like, are you quite a materialistic guy? Do you like material things?
I would say I definitely used to be, especially when I was in that job.
Right.
It was always like, I would, like when you actually think about it, mate, it was wild because there's a lot of guys in Scotland, in Glasgow, that are like that, mate. Like, I used to buy a t-shirt if I was going for a night out. It was like about 300, 400 quid. Like, mate, that was...
The wages.
That was more than a week's wage to me at some points. And I would buy that, wear it once and feel like, right, I can't wear that again.
Really?
Aye, mate, that was kind of the way I was. But now, I genuinely, I couldn't be further away from that.
What was materialistic things like growing up? So if came from a good household and that sort of stuff, but was it like middle class? No, like
I would say it was middle class, mate. We weren't absolutely loaded, but it wasn't like there wasn't any points where it was like we were absolutely struggling or anything like that. I still went on holiday with my mum and dad. Yeah. Still kind of I didn't get what I wanted. I didn't ever ask them and they would just get me things, but I always get good things at my birthday, good things at Christmas and stuff like that. So
do you get seeing people like with the flashy stuff and you're like, that's what I want?
Yeah, mate, 100%. It always was. Because I always, like I said, hung about with older people as well. So they were just more advanced than me. They had, like, there was at one point I was still at school. Most of my pals had jobs. Right. Like, because they were a few years older than me, like some of the boys that I hung about with. So they all had, like, jobs. They maybe had, like paper rounds, like milk runs and stuff like that. And I just had absolutely nothing. So they were all buying, like, nice clothes. They were buying, like, more drink or whatever. And I was just sitting there scraping pennies, like, had absolutely nothing.
Crazy.
So I've always just have been materialistic. I still am a wee bit to this day, but just not to the extreme that I used to be.
Well, you're super young, man. Like, you've got, like, my 20s, so I've just turned 30 in the last 6 months, and that was like fucking hell. Like, my 20s was such a crazy experience, like, going through it. Like, you learn so much, and you're at the early part of that, man. Like, you get so many amazing lessons to probably learn. And it sounds like you've done pretty good. Like, you're coming into it from a
mate. I would say I kind of, like, I like to call it like the Ned phase. I think that I was actually talking to John about this the other day. Like, I feel like majority of people from Glasgow and Scotland, majority of young boys go through that Ned phase. Some people grow out it quicker than others. I feel like I grew out it pretty quickly, and I just reached a ceiling. I got my apprenticeship, and that's when I kind of snapped out of it. I wasn't jumping about like a fanny anymore. I wasn't really kicking about in like Lost trackies anymore. I kind of screwed in it a wee bit, but I wasn't still all there. I still knew I was made for more at that point. I always knew, like, this wasn't what I wanted to do in my life, but it was still a step in the right direction from where I used to be. I was still grateful that I actually had a job, I actually had a car. I was like, if you asked me a year ago if I'd had an apprenticeship, I would have laughed in your face.
So this is you coming into adult life so I take it, is that 16, 17 year apprenticeship starts?
Yeah, somewhere around 16. I think I literally turned 16 and then kind of started, mate. So it was like, even my Ned phase, mate, I was like so young when I went, because I'm still young now, like you said, mate, I'm still 22 and I feel like
22-year-old bums.
I know, mate, actually, like some of the boys, mate, funny enough, that I used to hang about with are still doing the same stuff, mate. Still doing the same stuff. Some of them are probably in jail, stuff like that, mate. I obviously don't keep tabs with any of them anymore, but it's like, I'm so happy I got it all out my system so early.
How hard was it to separate yourself from them?
Mate, it really wasn't even that hard at all, mate. Like, I genuinely didn't feel like it was, because even like I said, I used to like smoke weed a lot and stuff like that, and even like stopping all that, it was just like I just kind of flicked a switch. As soon as I had a bit of incentive, because I had that job, I was like, right, I've got a job now. Like, I can't lose this. Like, if I lost my job, my mum and dad would
So you do. So I was going to say, like, what is your relationship like with your mum and dad? So it sounds like you do hold their opinion quite highly.
100% do, mate. It's like, I always need my mum and dad's opinion on anything. I think that's come from a point of like just how they raised me, mate.
You're an only child?
No, I've got a big sister. And mate, we are a close family, definitely, mate, 100%. Like, definitely close with my sister as well. And I just always need my mum and dad's opinion on everything. Like, even now, I'm not as bad now, mate, I feel like, because
we've been more independent.
I've moved out the house and stuff like that, so I've got my own place now. So I feel like I've done a lot of growing up over the past couple of months as well, mate, because I've had to obviously learn how to fend for myself.
Cook,
but
clean.
Before that, mate, it was like, see, even if I was going on holiday, I would have to, or getting a new car. I was getting a car back in November at that point. I just kind of started my business up. I wasn't long into the game. And I was like, Dad, am I right to get a car and all that? And he was like, share money, like, you earn your own money, you can go and get your own car. But I always just felt like I needed a second opinion. And it doesn't even need to be my mum and dad, mate. I always just need second opinions on everything, mate, because I'm a pure bomb scare, mate.
So I take it you class yourself somebody who's got ADHD, or has that been something that you've explored?
Yeah, so like I get taken and tested when I was in like I believe like primary school, mate.
Right.
And like I've always kind of knew, mate, since I was in high school that I'm just
something's different.
Something's really different about the way I just process things and the way I just go about my day-to-day life. Like it's kind of a struggle some days, mate, especially running a business, mate. It's really, really hard. Like I said to you, like I still have really bad like money handling issues. I'm really bad at like scheduling things. I'm really bad at forgetting things and just overfilling my diary, stuff like that, mate. And it's like a real struggle to be like organised and scheduled and routined and stuff like that, mate. It's kind of tough, mate, to be totally honest.
What's the support like then for like, so you get from a young age, let's say like, what's that, like 10, 20?
Mate, I was really
14,
young,
15 years ago maybe.
Well, all through school, like high school especially, I got put into like a kind of support base, right. Which is where I spent genuinely about 90% of school.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So what does that look like? Because I think in today's world, ADHD is like it's almost like a buzzword now. Like
mate, it's like,
every second person seems to have an element of it within them. Now you can make arguments for like some people, are they just using that as the I don't know, the phrase, or using that as an excuse, but then you like meet other people, like I know everybody listening to this will be like, James was definitely someone, like even just hearing how he conversates, had like these moments there. What was the support like then going to these like support groups?
It wasn't even like specifically for that, but I believe they can just kind of see in someone, like if a like child or a pupil was like acting differently, acting out, anger issues, whatever, they would then get put into this base. It was we were all kind of probably dealing with kind of the same stuff. So the base was called Don Bosco, I believe, and I just had like a kind of support teacher, and then it got to a point where like I was kicked out that many classes that I was in, like taken to like I wouldn't really say it was therapy. It was like what's the word?
Counselling?
Counselling. So I was taken to like counselling and stuff like that. My mum and dad even had to attend that and stuff like that. So I was taken to that, and then it came to the point where I had like a social worker and stuff like that. And there's even like a story where like my social worker like even ended up getting him taken off me because it was like got to a point where he said he couldn't even like look after me. So there was like, and they said that they couldn't even find a social worker.
How did that make you feel?
Mate, it was like, I just felt a bit like a lost cause, mate. I was like how, I felt like I went through like a kind of tier system. Like it was like school, I went to high school, right? That wasn't for you. I went to the support base, right? They can't handle you. Then I went to this thing, right? That isn't working for you. I had someone coming and taking me away from school to take me like trips and stuff like that, right? That didn't work either. Then I went to this, that didn't work either. And then it got to the point where it was like, they looked at my mum and dad and said, right, we don't think you can look after him anymore. And that was the point it got to. And that was a kind of big wake up moment as well, mate. Like there was points where like I even ran away for the house one time, and like there was like choppers and all that out looking for me, mate. It was kind of wild, and that was another wake up point because my grands and all that got involved.
Family,
the full family got involved, and I was just kind of like, man, look at what I'm doing right now. Like, do you know what I mean? But the support was definitely there. It was just I don't think I was listening.
It's not the right.
The support was there from like my full family, my teachers, everyone. Just see when I look back now, everyone was just trying to help me, and I just thought the world was against me.
Do you think that played a part in pushing you to something that sounds like you found with this group of people who could accept you for who you are, and you can kind of get lost in the midst of whatever's going on there? Do you think that pushed you further into it?
100%, mate. Like when I think back, I feel like I said, mate, I feel like everything's happened for a reason in my life, and I feel like that happens with everyone's life. So I feel like it's genuinely made me into the kind of person I am and shaped the kind of mindset I've got to now, most definitely, mate.
Have you spoke to your mum and dad like how the experiences were for you when you were younger?
That's one thing we've actually never even spoke about. Right. It's never come up in conversation. We kind of laugh about it now, like, because you can kind of laugh about it, just how bad I used to be. And it doesn't ever really come up in conversation. It might if they listen to this and that's them, like, right, let's sit down and talk about it. But
so you done counselling? Have you ever done like therapy or anything like that?
No,
a lot of people kind of speak
really,
of it.
It never really went any further than the counselling because, mate, it genuinely never done a thing for me, mate. It never helped at all. I just wasn't interested in it, and it didn't matter if somebody could sit there and talk to me. I would listen to them, and I wouldn't kick off or when they do anything bad. I would sit there and I would listen to you, and then it would just go right out of my ear as soon as I walked out, and I would get back to doing the exact same stuff as I was already doing. But that's what I'm saying. I can't even remember like an actual pivot point that just made me like. I can't even remember a point that just steered me in a different direction. It's
like all these wee mini lessons that you're getting in that.
That's what I mean. How everything's happened for a reason. I feel like over time it's just evolved me to where I'm at, and I feel like I'm still.
It's going to grow.
I'm still going to continue growing, mate.
Actually, I can't believe it's a year into this that you're like.
Mate, that's what I'm saying. It's like, see, when I feel like that's why people think I'm maybe so much older than I am, because I could tell you all.
Mate, I thought you were 25, 26. They sunbeds are aging you, mate.
It's even like if I'm talking to like birds or anything like that, they all think I'm older, but nah, like just the amount of stories I could tell you from my life, and then I'm 22, and they're like, how's all that happened before you're 22? Yeah. But it's like I said, mate, it was a very, very young age that I was like... Experiences shape us all, though, don't they? Exactly, mate, exactly.
So see, through it growing up, did you ever have like a dream about like what you wanted to do? Like was there anything like so out of the ordinary, or did you ever think that far ahead?
It was a footballer, and then that just kind of, mate, it was mental. It was just like a light just went off, and I just lost interest with it. Genuinely just couldn't be arsed with it anymore. I just fell out of love with it. And even to this day now, like I just used to live and breathe football. It was just watch football with my dad, went to the football games, went to my football games, went pro youth, and it was just all I ever wanted to do. And it was just like a light switch just went off, and I just fell out of love with it. And then...
Were you competitive?
I was definitely competitive, mate. But like I said, I kind of fell out of love with it. I just became less and less competitive. Like I said, I was playing with Kilmarnock, and I was just out getting stoned and getting on it every single week, hanging about with
Did you like that more? Mm-hmm. Did you like that more then? Do you think?
Mate, I loved that life. That was the kind of life that I just loved, mate. Right. It was, and then I just kind of lost my passion, mate, and it just became the point where, if I never get picked to play, and the team had black class.
Oh, really?
I was like, class, man, I can't be arsed.
Did you get money for that?
No, I was too young at the time, but I went for Kilmarnock to then like a team literally called Glenville, so that was just like, poof. Like up here all the way down here, and then for Glenville to nothing.
I just felt
that was it, mate, and it was just gone. And then like my dream after that was just like, it was actually during lockdown, mate. That was when I
started thinking about life.
I actually started thinking about like money, like where do I actually want to be in my life, mate? And I dived into so many different things, mate, that it was unbelievable. It was like property, wanted to do property, went to a course. I had like savings of like $3,000 that my mum and dad had like
saved.
I can't even, what was the guy's name? Samuel Leeds. It was a guy.
What you got, Samuel?
All the way down to England and just get brainwashed, mate, and give the guy all my savings. Never done anything about it. Never done anything. But again, it was like, it
was a lesson.
I knew I wanted to be financially free. I wanted to be rich, but I didn't know how, mate. I was just like, you're seeing all these people on TikTok talking about this is the best way to make money, this is the best way to make money.
It's overwhelming, isn't it? You start all these side hustles.
I tried stocks and shares, didn't understand it. Tried drop shipping, kind of actually got a wee business.
What products did you pick?
It was dog toys, mate. So it was actually doing like kind of all right. I was actually starting to make some money from it, and then like it was lockdown, so it was just so many problems. And then even at that, mate, I was doing that, and I was like, I didn't like doing this.
Aye.
And I was like, that's what just was a big kind of eye opener. I was like, you just need to find what you're passionate about.
How weird is that? Because I spoke a lot on the podcast about chasing money, and then I got a good amount of money, and I was like, there's a hole in the side me.
Mate.
What the fuck is this about? And it's like, oh, maybe that cheesy word purpose does actually mean something. You start diving a wee bit deeper into that. So you're working out then when you through your apprenticeship. Would you consider yourself as somebody who's like so you mentioned like you were super skinny. Mm-hmm. Do you find it hard to put on muscle and change your physique throughout your journey?
It was no. I feel like I made pretty quick progress. Right. Probably doing it the wrong way. I feel like everyone does it wrong when they first start out, mate.
Whose information are you consuming? It was
what's his name again? It was mostly like Sebum and there was another kind of YouTube crowd. They were all like the original like Gymshark guys. It was all them.
Oh, right.
Because that was always my dream, mate. Was like, again, this is tying back to like the kind of influencer lifestyle. I always wanted to be like a Gymshark athlete and My Protein athlete.
What is it you liked about them? Was it just like,
I think it was just the status, mate, of it. I think that was it. Just being like, oh, I'm My Protein athlete. I'm a Gymshark athlete, and it's just like they guys could have had absolutely no idea what they're talking about, but it was how I gained my first kind of clients as well. You just look at their physique and go, right, well, they look like that, so I'm going to listen to them. And I feel like that's a philosophy for anything in life, is like, if you want to be better at something, look at somebody doing better than you at it and
take the lessons, take the guidance, yeah.
Aye, so just learned off guys on YouTube and stuff like that, mate. Just started training, fell in love with it, eating loads, and then kind of built up my first kind of, I would say, kind of base physique, and then kind of kept it going from there. Feel like my progress kind of slowed down, and then got to a point where I done like I actually fell away from it for a wee period where I was in like a kind of bad relationship and stuff like that, and then got back on track with it, done like my first bodybuilding show.
Oh, did you do a show? Did you?
Done a show last August, but that kind of made me
crazy.
People have got different views on it, right?
Way different. Yeah.
I respect anyone who steps on stage and anyone who does it consecutively and seasonally, because, mate, it was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. It made me lose all interest in the gym. It made me hate the gym, and like all I've ever loved when I started the gym was bodybuilding, like watching bodybuilders, watching things on YouTube, and that just made me lose interest in it altogether, mate.
There's a massive difference between actually doing it and watching it.
Mate, 100%. It was genuinely 100% the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
Dialed in 24/7. I think that's it. People like slag against that. Oh, it's a beauty pageant. You're on stage with tanning. It's like, regardless if you're on stage for 10 seconds or a minute, whatever it is, it's the 6 months, the year leading up to that is dialed.
That is, mate. It's even after it, mate. I found that after it was even harder.
Mate, do you know how much did you gain a shit ton of weight straight back?
Mate, that's a funny story actually, man. It was,
what happened?
I think it was like 14 kilo in like a week and a half. So I had a holiday booked. I remember booking it with my ex-girlfriend like during the middle of my prep. I was like, right, let's book a holiday so that I've got something to look forward to. Booked Tenerife, all-inclusive, for like 3 days after my show, right? And I was like, I'm going to be shredded on holiday. Mate, went there and I've probably been like the most self-conscious I've ever been in my life, because my face was humongous. I was fat. Like, mate, there was one point we were getting on the plane home, couldn't get my shoes on.
Just inflammation. Like,
mate,
just crazy.
Get my shoes on. I was like, look at my legs, man. They're like tree trunks.
It's a part that's not really spoken about, is that binge afterwards. Mate, so I was similar to you. I remember stepping on stage. I can't remember my actual weight, but I remember it was like 22 pounds the day after and I was like, that can't be right. And don't get me wrong, that first gym session after, so I went to the gym the day after my show, I was checking myself and I was like, I filled out nice, and I was like, I'm looking good. Day after, I'm like, I don't feel good, man. I was like, everything's swelling, no the muscles. But I had mad indigestion, so I had like your craving. Like, I gave me 5 donuts and Nutella and a carton of milk and all that sort of stuff. It's like, I would never eat that stuff anyway, but you just have a weird craving for it.
Exactly, and it was like, I don't know if you ended up the same, mate, but I ended up like, I never got diagnosed it off a doctor or anything like that, but I would believe it was a form of it. I believe I ended up with like an eating disorder, because I was just like eating.
It is bread,
make myself sick, eat more, make myself sick, eat more, and I was just, mate, it was like, I done that for a period of like 2 days, just constantly making myself sick to eat more, because I felt like it had been 6 months of cravings building up, and I was like, right, I need to fucking fit all these cravings in, but I was like, mate, food's not going anywhere. I know.
Did you have any low moments in your prep?
Yeah, mate, 100%. There was like so many points where I was just like, what am I doing this for?
So I was living in England at the time with my wife, right? And we came up to stay at her mum's, and it was dialed because I wouldn't have any stuff that I was like any temptations in the house. So we lived ourselves. Went to her mum's and I opened this cupboard. There's tons of chocolate in it. It was the maddest chocolate ever. It was like, I don't know, it wasn't something you would buy. It was like American chocolate for a holiday or something like that. And I remember going, uh-oh. And then I waited till everyone went to bed, woke up in the middle of the night. I'd like subconsciously woke myself up and was like, I'm going to eat all that. And I must have scanned about 1,000 calories worth of chocolate. And I remember how much guilt I had the next day and how much, the way I was talking to myself. And this is back when I was your age, actually. This is about, I was 22, 23. And I just remember that so vividly. I was like, you're a failure, you're a fucking idiot, you're this, you're that. And looking at it, I was like, wow, that is like, in paper, what would be considered as an eating disorder, man? Like, what the hell's going on?
Now that you pointed it out, mate, like, I did have so many moments like that as well. Like,
crazy.
Even went to the cinema, I'm sure, and I ate like, I think it was the way my coach was as well. Like, it was a good coach, but he was just very like, stick to this, mate, nothing else. And I had like 2 tubs of fruit and I left, and I was like, what have I done? Why have I done that? Like, mate, it drives you cuckoo, mate.
It
genuinely drives you cuckoo, mate. So I think I've probably put so many people off doing a show, like, because the way I've spoke about it, like, but
it's not, I don't think it's a bad thing. I genuinely think it's good. I'm always torn with this. I had Alex on like last week, and he spoke about his experience with it, very similar to mine, and I want to get someone that's in the midst of bodybuilding to hear their experience, why they do it. But at the end of the day, I think, see, for normal longevity, health, fitness 100%. And strength, it doesn't have a part to play.
Nah, I feel like unless you know, that's what I say to people. If people message me about my show, I don't really, you won't even see any on my
Instagram. I didn't even know you done it.
Aye, because I just don't want really anything to do with it. I don't want to coach people. I don't even really want people to know that I done it, because it was a pretty horrible point in my life, mate. Like, unless you know you want to do that, you want to be a bodybuilder, and you know you're going to do well, I wouldn't even do it. Yeah, to be honest.
I think again, I know why I was drawn for it. In a way, I always had a goal. I wanted to box it off, because I followed all the bodybuilders, and mine was like Calvin Von Moger, Simeon Panda. I even followed like Rich Piana, fucking Flex Lewis, and all these guys growing up. And then, so in my head, it was like, one day I'll do a show, I'll get massive first, and then it eventually turned into, you know what, see, when I post pictures of my top off, I get hundreds of attention on social media.
Yeah.
I've been in a long-term relationship, so it wasn't like attention from girls or anything like that, but it was like that status, and I was like, I know if I do a show, I'm going to get this status. Man, I didn't even scratch it. You're like,
I feel like it's a lot of thing with coaches as well. Like, I feel like people feel like they're obliged to do a show as soon as they start coaching. That was the kind of reason I done it. I was like, right, I've started gym now, I'm a coach, I need to do a show. I just genuinely done it just to like see the process, see how it was, and see MD that says they're doing it for that reason. I'm like, don't do it. Aye. Like, that is not a like good enough reason to just go and do a show. I feel like you need to want to do it. Aye. Like, I was just doing it just for the sake of kind of doing it, mate, and then it just
fell by the wayside. So backing up a sec, so you're working out, you're following Gymshark guys and all that sort of stuff. What's your circle of friends look like? So you've moved away from the quote unquote BAMs and Neds and stuff like that. How do you start meeting other people? Is that just, I would imagine you're somebody that makes friends pretty easily.
Yeah, so I was literally had like kind of one, it got down to the point where I was like, when I started my TikTok and stuff like that, and started like that kind of whole journey, I really only had like one friend, Callum. So he's probably, if he listens to this, shout out to Callum. And Callum's just one of the friends that like we don't even talk that much now, just because we're both busy. But one of the friends that you could just go meet him, and it's just like we seen one another yesterday. So us two were just kind of on a path. Like, he was a great kind of pal for me. They just genuinely helped me build. Even my ex-girlfriend at the time, she played a massive part in getting me to where I was. Like, quieting me down a lot, got me to just kind of stay on track and no fall away with bad crowds and stuff like that. So it was just kind of that very, very small knit group. I had like one close pal, my girlfriend, and it was just like kind of right, tunnel vision at that point. And then once I'd started TikTok, then ended up pals with my flatmate John. He reached out to me, and at that point, mate, I was had a very, very small following. He was massive at that point. And the fact he reached out to me, met him, and I was like, he's a genuine guy. And then kind of, mate, my circle's still very, very small, mate. I've online coaches, I have people I talk to and stuff like that, mate, but I like it just being small now, mate. And
it's hard to keep deep, meaningful relationships with a big group of people.
Mate, I feel like, I've had big pal groups, mate.
I actually, sometimes I've seen this show and I was like, get a wee bit jealous. I'm like, how have you got so many pals? And I'm like, actually, what I do in my daily life, I don't think I have time to put the effort in and see all them.
Mate, 100%. It was actually quite a sad moment as well, mate. Like, I had was it my last birthday? Or was it my 21st, mate? And I was sitting there and I was like, who am I going to invite to my birthday? Like, do you know what I mean? Because there wasn't any actual real, I could put it in a group chat and get 100 people there, but it's 100 people that are just coming just to get on it, and they don't even care about me. But I feel like big pal groups, mate, like there's hundreds of them out there, like 20 of them, they all go to IB for the gala, 20 of them, they all go to sub crawls the gala, but they don't even like one another. Like, let's be totally honest, halfies don't even like one another. Yous all talk about one another, so just get it by. You're better just having, I believe, like a small group of close friends who are all bringing value to one another. And that's the way I kind of look at it now, is like, if you're not kind of having valuable like, conversations with your pals, and then what are you gaining for it? Do you know what I mean?
I was actually just talking to Gillian yesterday about this, and I was like, I think it was Alex. Alex has got a very rich friendship group. He's got like a group of friends that he's been with, like close with since he was like 9, 10, 11 or something like that. And then he's also got the MTN guys and people he's met through business and that. And I was thinking, like, off the back of that episode, and I guess the word is sad, but I'm no genuinely sad. I just think, fuck man, I don't actually have a big group of pals like that, and it's like, fuck, I don't have any these friendships that go way back to high school and your childhood and that sort of stuff, because it varies different reasons.
I have that feeling as well, and probably so many people do as well. Like, I can't remember the last time I spoke to anyone I went to school with, and they were at that time my best mates. They were all my best mates, like planning everything together, and then it's just like bang, like nothing. You've got name day. You've not got a big group that you could just go on holiday with. You can just do things with.
Do you think this is what kind of kickstarts the attention part from maybe not necessarily? I'll come on to a wee sec like why you chose like coaching that, but do you think that's what started like the attention part for you? Like,
yeah, mate, because it was like got to a point where I was just kind of like even my pals that I went to school with, I was, like I said, mate, I was the baddest out the bunch, mate. So it was like, I think it got to a point where they didn't even really like hanging about with me. So I was kind of isolated a wee bit, and then started hanging about with other crowds, and then it was other crowds, and then it was other crowds, and it was just like I was constantly having to like show up to all these different pal groups and try and like prove myself. So it's like I've been always trying to prove myself to these different groups, and then it got to a point where it was just kind of me myself, and it was like, hey, I've got need to.
But you also need to work on yourself as well. So I think this is what your journey's been.
Yeah, mate, so, it's like you need to be isolated for a bit, I think, man.
So COVID, I think, seemed to be like a little bit of a blessing for most. Any coach I'm speaking to, it's like there's a story in COVID that happened and it kind of changed the direction that they were on. And for the sounds of it, like kind of similar part to you. So going into like COVID hits, where are you doing? Did you break your hand before? Oh no, so you broke your eye. So
I was COVID.
That was last year.
Went back to my job as a joiner.
But during COVID, did you mention that you started to have this appeal more towards fitness?
That was when it wasn't even towards fitness. I didn't even know at that point.
You just wanted to do something.
Coaching wasn't even in my brain. I didn't even, because you know yourself, mate. Like my mum and dad, like they back in their era, like back in the day, like PT was like. It wasn't even a good paid job. Like they didn't make that much money. I didn't even know until I started how much money online coaches were making, how much money PTs were making. So that wasn't even ever a thought in my head of I'm going to become a PT. It was always just looking at things like property, drop shipping, stocks and shares. That's the only way to get rich.
Trending things on social media.
That's the only ways you can get rich. So I was like always looking at the things. But as soon as that spark went in my head, it was all I ever thought about. I was in work. I had a boy Jack that we served our apprenticeship together, and all we used to talk about was just money. Like I know you said that,
like dreaming your life, dreaming this dream lifestyle
and stuff like that. But we always used to look at like people on Instagram and be like, "Oh man, look at that! That must be how you make money. Like you must need to listen to these type of people." But I was like, I've tried it. I don't like it. So I was like, right, this is me then. I need to just be a joiner the rest of my life. That's the only way.
Did you know what like purpose meant then? Or like
no clue, mate. No clue whatsoever, mate. I was so unaware of just life, mate. Honestly, I was just going through life like I was on a treadmill, mate. Just like week by week, day by day. Just I felt I was fading away, mate. I was just like I felt I couldn't waste like the feeling I had in my head. That was like the way it felt. I was like I kept always saying to myself, I was like, when am I going to get my lucky break? Like when's something going to pop for me and just like make me? And I don't know if I've actually hit that point, mate. I don't know if I ever hit that point. But, I was always just saying to myself, like, when's something going to go my way? When am I going to get my big break and just go at my job and just live the life that I want to?
So tell us how like coaching became a thing then. Like, did that become something that just happened, but as a default?
Yeah, so obviously like the thing with my hand happened, and at that point, like,
did you get sick pay and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah,
or
so
like...
I was off on sick pay, and then it was just like I said, I'd already tried to start my PT course, and it was like at that point it was kind of in the back of my head. I was like, I wanted to do it, and it was just like it was actually as well what kind of re-sparked that thought, like, because I wasn't really even thinking about PT. As soon as I broke my hand, I didn't go, right, I'm going to become a PT now. And like the second that happened, it was my girlfriend at the time. She had just started a PT qualification, right? So what kind of started happening was I was like, she'd actually started it before I broke my hand, I'm pretty sure. But I was like, she's doing what I want to do, and she's going to be making money doing what I want to do, and I'm going to be rolling about doing a job that I don't want to do. I was like, and then one day it was actually, I was going to train with one of my pals, and she was there as well, and I was like just helping them with his set, and she was like, you should become a PT. And I was like, Jank? And she was like, you looked so natural doing that. And then I was like, bang, right, I'm becoming a PT then. I done my course, and that was it for there, mate. And it was like literally, I remember having a point, I was like, this is exactly what I'm meant to do. That was my break, mate. It was like, this is what exactly what I was meant to do.
I think it's the first time you kind of feel passion.
It was the first time I felt passion towards something, because it was like I was doing what I loved, I was getting paid for it, and it was like something that I was going to be able to scale to get the life that I want to live, mate. And it's going to be easy to scale it because I'm doing what I love, mate. Do you know what I mean?
That's cool. So it's also no sunshine and rainbows all the time, into like that. I was saying, it was a couple of days ago, I was like, man, life was so much simpler when I was just doing one-to-one PT, and I just had this fire today, and I still have that fire, but it's like, man, I've got a studio I need to run, I've got like fucking bills and all that sort of stuff I need to think about.
It's like with more money just comes more stress. It's like, that's what I always say. I'm like, if I want more money, I'll obviously need to get more clients. That then means it's more work. That means it's more stress. It all comes hand in hand, mate.
Yeah. So when do you do your bodybuilding show? Just last year?
Yeah, last August.
Have you ever worked with a coach at this point when you became a PT? So you see what it looks like from an influencer point of view. Have you ever worked with a coach before you started PTing? Before you started training to be a PT?
Yeah, so that was like, I had just started coaching. I was very, very early on into coaching. Like, it was at that point, I was charging like pennies. I was basically still coaching some of my pals for free to try and get some like results and stuff like that. And I had my coach, but I didn't feel like I learned massively from my coach, and I don't feel like it benefited me as a coach. I obviously learned a lot from him, but in terms of like business
what was it you went to him for? Like,
it was for the show. It was for the show, and it was initially it was a photo shoot. Right. That was all it was. I was never bodybuilding. A show was never in my mind. But he was a bodybuilder, and then he just said to me, he was like, "You should do a show." And I was like, "Right, fine, I will."
Who was it?
His name's Keith West. If you know him.
Keith West. I feel I've heard the name.
He's a natural bodybuilder guy. He's an absolute machine.
Where's he from?
He's from Scotland. He's from Scotland, but he lives down.
He's strong as fuck.
He's an absolute machine. You want 100%.
Do you know Finlay Connor?
Yeah.
So he used to go to the gym. I used to train. So his coach is the same guy.
I believe he probably was at one point. Like any kind of young person who's like, or not even just young person, any person who's doing like a natural bodybuilding show, he's the kind of
go-to guy.
He's the kind of top guy in natural bodybuilding.
I think I know what you're talking about.
He's seriously smashed his field, and I respect, obviously.
He's niched it like fuck, man. He's got it.
I respect how much like consistency and how much hard work he's obviously put in to get him to where he's got to. But like I said, it never really taught me a million things about how I'm going to coach people, because I'm not taking on any bodybuilding clients. I'm not.
Was there anything you learned from it? Like, over?
I would say just genuinely how to kind of talk to people. At the start, I kind of copied his whole check-in process. Now, I've obviously changed everything for that, but I had my own way like check-in process, how I checked in with my clients, and then I was like, right, should I be doing it like him, because look at the shape he's getting me in. And at the start, it was like I was just kind of copying wee things.
Well, you do. I think like I hear PTs talk about this, and there's also a wee bit of nervousness of talking about like oh no, I'm not copying anyone, but I think you need to. Yeah. Like, why not copy someone who's doing good?
Exactly, mate.
Apply it to yours and go, I would actually change this bit.
Yeah.
That doesn't work for me. Like, if you can't like text somebody 24/7 like throughout the day, like some, especially in the bodybuilding world, like they are dialed. Like it's one of the probably best parts that you can get with a bodybuilding coach. Is like everything's so meticulous. Yeah, and you need a wee bit more room play. Like when we're dealing with average people.
I think the one thing that I actually benefited for doing the bodybuilding show was like the kind of like dialed in routine.
Everything's mapped out,
mate. I like it because that helped me a lot with like work and stuff like that. Like I was just like nothing else to do, so it was like that kind of helped me build the building blocks for like my coaching. Like it helped me build up so much momentum with clients, and it kind of kick-started that as well, mate. Because it's like I said, when you're starting at the bottom, mate, it's really hard to build, mate. So it helped me build up a lot of momentum because I just started coaching. I was in a bodybuilding prep, so I was like switched on, and all I was thinking about was training, coaching, clients, content, and it helped a lot. I had no distractions, like, do you know what I mean? So it really helped at the start, mate, to be totally honest. Good. I would say.
When did you quit your joinery job?
I quitted that, I can't even remember what exact day. I believe it was like maybe May. No. What day?
So you broke your hand in like February?
I believe it was just the end. It was towards the end of last year. Right. And just like sent him a message. I was obviously.
How was that?
Oh, it was the best feeling in the world. I wanted to actually go in and hand in my notice. Like,
did you text them? Your text broke up them?
I just sent him an email.
Not for me anymore.
They were brand new about it, but I think they probably seen it coming because I was like getting messages off all the guys in my work.
Oh, so I guess you're building your TikTok following at this point.
I was literally doing it, and I was getting so worried because I was like,
They're going to see
I'm
this.
off work because I'm saying I can't swing a hammer, and then I was in the gym training. I was like, mate, my hand's still killing me, but I was in the gym training. I was just milking being off for as long as I could, because I knew that if I went back to work, I was going to start getting slaughtered for my videos, and then it would have been.
Oh right, of course.
Do you know what I mean? That was why I was like, this needs to work, because I can't go back to my work. I said that to my mum and dad. I was like, I can't go back to my work. I was like, if I go back, I will get slaughtered. I'll listen to them and I'll stop.
Do you think you're easily influenced?
Very easy influenced, mate. I'm even to this day, mate. Like, I do let like negative feedback like kind of affect me a lot. I just don't show it, obviously, online. But I try and take it with a pinch of salt, of course, mate. But I kind of just overthink things a lot, mate. Really.
We'll come on to like the comment section and that in a wee sec, because that's the brutal part. So, but the feeling of handing in your notice, like, but especially when you're doing it,
one of the like. As soon as I sent it and I got the email back, it was like handcuffs just come off, mate.
It feels like a weight of pressure.
It was like the most fulfilling feeling in the world, just knowing that. And it took ages to sink in. Like, I'm never.
You just feel like I'm living my dream life,
mate. Literally, and there was so many like pinch me moments, and I still get them to this day, mate. I actually had a call with like my mentor this morning, right? And it was like, he was saying like so many is just unfulfilled. Like you're constantly just chasing the next thing, and I need to do that to myself all the time. I'm constantly just worrying about clients leaving, money, this and that I'm forgetting. I'm living the dream that like the life that I used to dream of. Like genuinely, like this is what everything I used to dream of, and I'm sitting there just worried about the next thing, the next month, the next day. Do you know what I mean?
I knew it was going to be one of the biggest moments of my life. So I quit my job. I ended up. So you done yours for 4 years. So I ended up doing a job that I didn't necessarily hate, but I knew I wanted to be a PT. I just didn't think you could make a career out of it. So I done that for 6 or 7, maybe 8 years. I can't remember how long it was, but I was 27 and I got a new promotion, and I was like, fuck. I was like, I don't think I want to do this. And I said to Gillian, we were getting married and everything, I was like, I think I'm going to quit my job and become a PT. And she's like, go for it, blah, blah, blah. But I videoed the call that I had with my boss at the time, man. I look back and it gives me so much, like, I was like, I can still feel the goosebumps for that moment. And I was like, wow, like, I just remember like that pressure just leaving my body. Yeah. I was like, what the fuck? Like, is this how life can be experienced?
Such a fulfilling feeling as well.
What would your advice be for people that's kind of caught in that decision-making process, that I'm in a good, stable, good, safe job and my parents are proud of me and yada yada, but I have a passion to do X?
Mate, I would genuinely say, I said this when because I'm pretty sure I made a video kind of just ranting about how I'd just handed my notice in. And I was just saying, like, anyone, no matter what stage you're at in your life, whether you've got so much responsibilities, I feel like if your job doesn't make you happy, you feel like you should be doing something else, you want to be doing something else, then get out of it, like, kind of ASAP. Because at the end of the day, your work is where you spend majority of your time. You see your people in your work more than you see your kids, more than you see your missus, whatever. So if you're spending majority of your time there, then why would you be somewhere that doesn't make you happy? You might as well just go for it. Do you know what I mean?
Did you have a strategy then? So your strategy seemed to be build a TikTok following. Was it as simple as that? Was there any savings built up?
Because I kind of seen how well it worked for like one of my pals. So at the time, a boy called Adam Donnelly.
I know Adam.
So I was very close with Adam at that point, and mate, it was literally I kind of mirror copied what he done.
Were you looking at stuff like, I'm funnier, I can do that?
I know even, man, but he had already started coaching, and then he popped off on TikTok, and I just remember talking to him all the time. I was still working my old job at the time, and he was like, his clients were growing and everything was just popping for him. And I was like, right, he's grew a following. It's done well for his coaching. Right. I want to become a coach, so I was just like, right, I'm just going to fucking get a head start, man, and just build my following first, and it genuinely done wonders, mate.
Why did you choose TikTok then?
Mate, it wasn't even like I don't even know, mate, to be totally honest. I genuinely don't even know, but it did take me a while to actually, like I said, start posting on Instagram, and I just always felt like Instagram was a lot more serious.
Instagram's like, where everybody knows who you are.
You can just genuinely let loose, mate. You can kind of do what you want, say what you want. Because I was always worried about like the way I talk, how much I swear. Like, mate, genuinely, I've no idea how hard I'm trying not to swear every 2 seconds. But just I talk like a bit of Ned sometimes, right? That pure Glaswegian accent. I was worried that I just swear all the time, and I just felt like Instagram, I couldn't really do that on there. But whereas TikTok, mate, I was just kind of being myself. But that's one bit of advice as well I would just give to anyone, is just like, just being yourself, man. I just felt like I could just be myself on TikTok, and people loved it.
Well, for what I see so far, like, you see these quote unquote influencers that have a a persona that they're online, and then you always hear that when they're met in person, they're like completely different people. Crossed a few people, I'm like, you're completely different to what you are online, but like that's probably the biggest compliment you could get, is like how you've been here today so far, and like how we like spoke off camera, and that's like you seem to be the same guy as you're on camera.
Yeah, 100%. Like that. Yeah, I know so many people that as well, mate. It's like literally like watching two different people have two different lives, but I feel like I do have a side to me where I'm like that will never leave me, mate. I'll always be me. I'll never change to try and be something I'm not, or to try and attract people that I don't even want to attract, because it's even for like coaching as well, mate. Like the type of people I work with, mate, I love every one of them. They're all so sound, they're so funny, because like the kind of content I put out, so I attract what I put out, and it's like it just makes everything so much better. Like if you're trying to be somebody else, you're going to end up attracting people that you don't like.
Oh no, of course.
And stuff like that.
So so there also wasn't a content strategy, but it was just like, I need to just start posting.
Aye.
When did it gain traction? Did it gain traction from day one, or like what was your strategy?
It was very, it didn't really pop like right at the start, mate. It was very, very slow at the start.
You posting every day? Like
every single day, mate, genuinely. Every single day for, I would say, about like 8 months, 9 months, mate, just consistently, mate, every single day, constantly. Like that was how I knew that was exactly what I was meant to do, because every day, mate, I was just thinking about things, thinking about different ideas, and I was loving making it all. And then it really, really, really popped when I started veering away from gym content. That was when it really popped, mate, and it was like things to do with ADHD. So that was what I was kind of known as, mate. I was known as like the ADHD guy, and that was what I was branded as, because I was doing like, I remember I'd done a video and it was like ADHD in the gym, and it was just like me doing a voiceover with all the different thoughts in my head. And then that done well when somebody texts me and they were like, mate, that's your thing, run it. And I done an ADHD video every single day for about 2 weeks.
Right.
Like one going to the shops, one getting in my car, one going for a haircut. Like
it was one of the first ones I think I saw you. I didn't even know it was you at the time. It wasn't until Nicky had mentioned like he was pals with you, and I was like, I've heard that name before. And obviously your face isn't on it. You're talking about the things that you're going through, and I was like, fucking hell, that's the same guy. So what did that do then in terms of following?
That was genuinely crazy. So like I said, it was very, very slow. I remember hitting like 10k. That was like a kind of milestone, hitting 10k on like Instagram or TikTok, whatever. It was a milestone. So I kind of nearly hit that. Posted that ADHD video, and then I started posting them consistently, and I hit 50k within like 2 weeks. Wow. Not 2 weeks, like within I'd say about a month, mate. It was absolutely crazy, and it just went for there, and it kept going, and then it kind of slowed down. And that's again what kind of plays with your head a wee bit with social media massively, mate, is you get addicted to views, you get addicted to likes, and then you lose it, and you're like,
especially with the personality trait
exactly, mate, and that's how you veer away from your purpose. Because I'm like, right, I need to post a viral TikTok, and I'm posting a lot of shite. I'm posting nothing about the gym, nothing that's going to get me clients, nothing that's going to help people, just stuff that's going to just
satisfy your vanity metric.
Man, genuinely. And I was like just posting nonsense, mate, and I was like,
when did you realise this?
Mate, to be honest, I realise it all the time, and then I end up doing it again. Like genuinely, mate, I do it all the time.
There's an element though, like you need to kind of get across you as well, and yes, the gym's a big part of your life, but so is the, like when you were out, you went to like was it a hill climb or something like that, like people connect with you and the kind of stuff that you do.
Like, I know I say I get addicted to views and stuff like that, mate, but genuinely the kind of content I like making, especially on TikTok, is just like in my car, mate, and I just hold my phone and I just start talking shit. That's my kind of favourite kind of content, is I like just, even like the day, like making a TikTok, like doing a day in the life and stuff like that, mate, I love that. I know it's nothing to really do with the gym, but if I enjoy making it, mate, I enjoy making it.
There's a reason why, like brands, you look at big brands and how their businesses are taking off now. Like every founder is doing a personal story, who they are. Like you look at Represent, there's a couple other ones like running clubs and that in America that I'm following, and it's like their brand pages have less followers than their name as a person. Like look at Elon Musk and all that, and I always hear that and I'm like, it makes so much sense, because people are going to connect with you, mate, as much as you have a product that you'll have.
100%.
So it's crazy. So John reaches out to you at one point, so you start gaining traction. You hand in your notice at what point though? Like, was it a milestone in your head? Like when did you realise, right, I can now go full time in coaching?
Yeah, it was as soon as it was before I'd even handed my notice in. I was kind of just rinsing the sick pay, mate, to be totally honest.
Oh my God, only getting half pay now, right? I'm away. See you later.
And then that was remember what we spoke about, that penny drop moment? That was a penny drop moment, because I was getting sick pay, bang, that was away, and I was like, right, I need to
make this work.
I need to earn my money now. I need to can work.
Do you have any savings?
At that time, no, because I'd give them out to Samuel Leeds.
He's bought a house, mate.
But no, I didn't have a lot, mate. I was kind of starting from scratch, mate, and then that was how I kind of started just being like, I was like, mate, I was just saving everything, mate. I was just like, I wasn't spending any of my money, mate. Even getting that car, like, I could have got a lot of a nicer car than I did get, but I was like, no, I need to get something cheap.
Just to get A to B.
And again, that was like that. That was when I kind of realised I'd lost that kind of materialistic kind of side of things, because I had the car I had before was just like, I wanted a nice motor. I was in my overdraft, but fuck it, I had a nice motor, I didn't care. So that was the point where I was like, right, I feel like I've kind of grown up a wee bit. I'm kind of past all that.
So sick pay ends then, and then what's it? So you've got a mentorship now. Did you go into that before you left? Or
that was quite early on into my coaching as well. It was like, I was just kind of thinking, I was like, I mean, I was getting like, that was when my TikTok was kind of popping off. I was getting inquiries like up to my ears, genuinely, people inquiring and with coaching. But I was charging pennies, mate. So the amount of money I was making, right, it was like, wasn't even that much money. But for how many, like I had a load of clients, mate. I had like 60, 70, like nearly 60 clients at one point. And I was like, when's this going to stop? Like
50 quid, 50 quid a month and all that.
And it was just, I can't remember. I was talking to some boy who was involved in the program that I'm in. And he was like, mate, you need to get support. You need to get support, because he was like, you're kind of popping the now. And he was like, you just need to get these systems in place, like while you can. So
how that must have been, was that just seem like a no-brainer, or was it quite scary because you'd already invested money?
That was a real scary point, mate. Like, because I couldn't even afford it at the point. Like, I went on this call, and I was still, see, at that point, I wasn't even doing like one-to-one calls with my clients and stuff. I was still very new to like talking on the camera. I hated going on calls, mate. I hated it. So I went on a call with this sales guy, and he showed me through it, and he's bigged me up, telling me, mate, that's amazing how many clients you've got and how much money you're making. He sent me a pure dream, and then he told me the price, and I was like, shit. And I was like, aye, mate, I'm ready to go, but I never even had the money. And then it was like, I paid it up. But mate, it was, I would like to say it was genuinely a very good investment, mate. That's helped me a lot, mate.
So yours is it the coach's mentor?
The coach's mentor,
so we've kind of glossed over mentorships in the past and various different things, and I think mentorship seems to be like a bad rap. Had John Hamilton on recently as well. He's got his mentorship group, and it seems like there is a mentorship for every certain thing. But so you've someone who's had a fantastic experience with this though, and is there anything that, what would you say is like the traits and habits that have made the biggest difference?
Mate, I would say like, yes, and I say this like from me with a client as well. Like, he could give me the best fucking systems in the world, but at the end of the day, mate, it's just accountability. It's the exact same way you have a coach. Like, I need to check in with him. I need to make sure that I'm getting better every single month, otherwise he's going to be on my case. And
so one little difference is
I
what
would say that is genuinely the biggest thing I take away from having a mentor. It could genuinely be my grandmate, but it's just somebody to check in with, and they look over my numbers, look over where my clients are at, where my money's at, and if it's no growing, if it's no scaling, then they're going to step in and help me. But I just know that every month I need to be hitting targets, and I would say that's the biggest thing, mate. Like, systems and all that are good, and strategies, marketing strategies, this and that. Like, anyone's going to kind of teach you that stuff, mate, but it's just that accountability, having someone in the background that you kind of need to answer to. And it's the exact same way somebody starting a fitness journey with having me as a coach. Like, it's just somebody there to hold you accountable, innit? So
you started this quite early on then, for when you went coaching?
Yeah, it's coming up to, I would say it was about August time, August, September time. So it's coming up to nearly a year I've been.
So did you join that before you left the joining it?
I had just left. Right. I'd just left my job. I wasn't long left my job, and that was how I had a couple of months where it was just like fending for myself, and it was just like, I've went from just being a wee guy working a 9 to 5 to then just having content. Like I said, mate, I treated content and my coaching as two different careers. I was like, there's so much going on now. Like, I went for just kicking back, doing my 8-hour shift and just going home and just watching the telly, you know, like it was just like working like 20 hours a day.
Right, so TikTok's like popping off. Are you monetizing TikTok at this point? Can you monetize this time last year?
No, at that point I wasn't really making anything off it.
Right.
But like I was making stuff off it. I was getting,
getting inquiries.
And that was the only way I looked at it. It was a kind of lead magnet, mate, if anything. It was kind of just driving towards.
How mad is it in a short space of a year that you think like TikTok's just going to serve with feeding your clients and it starts opening up different avenues?
That's one thing about, like, that's another conversation in itself, mate. The doors that social media opens up, mate, it's unbelievable, mate.
Yeah, so let's actually get into it. So the first door that seems to open up is, like, from what I see, like a very strong connection with another person who's doing well on social media, which is John. So he reaches out to you. What was that like? Does that seem like a bit weird?
We genuinely just went and trained together, but it was like I liked it because like at that point there was obviously other people doing so much better than me on TikTok, a lot more followers. At that point I had like less than 10,000 followers, right? I was like at the building stage trying to get there. John had a load of followers, and the fact he reached out to me and he was like, "Oh mate, I love your content, like why don't you meet up for a session?" I was like, that's class, man. That guy's actually reached out to me because I'd seen hundreds of his videos, and then we just went and trained together, mate, and we just kind of clicked, mate. And I just genuinely thought he was like a pure, genuine guy, because I don't know if you've seen a lot of his stuff, but he's obviously...
He's been through the...
Yeah, so I always think like there is some people who kind of play on it a wee bit for like maybe attention or views or whatever, right? But I seen him and he was like just such a pure, genuine guy, and we just got on. We're kind of similar, mate, with like the backgrounds we've had, like growing up and stuff like that, and then both love the gym, and then we filmed a TikTok together, and then it done well, and then we done another one, it done well, and then mate, people just started kind of liking us together, and then it was just kind of built for there, mate. Yeah.
So from there, then, is that when, like, what was like, if you look back at like your social media journey, like what was like the pinch me moments that fucking hell, I'm now classed as an influencer? Or do you like that word?
I would say like I'm never going to class myself like that.
I wrote it in my, so when I was doing a wee bit of research and stuff, I was like, I'm going to ask you a question. Do you see yourself as a coach or an influencer first?
Nah, mate, 100%. I'm a coach first, mate. Cool. But I don't even know what classes you as an influencer. Like,
it is branded as a... I think it used to be like a sought after, like from your point of view, like, right, this is going to build a good following is going to build my coaching business. I think that's really what influencer was, but it seems to be like, it's like, with your frappy latte and all that sort of stuff.
Aye, mate, but no, there was definitely a pinch me moment, because like I said, mate, I always wanted to be like a Gymshark sponsored athlete, a My Protein sponsored athlete, because that was the guys I watched at the time. I was like, man, that looks heavy cool, because like I was watching with the days of job. I was like, that's so class, I want to do that. And then I got like my first kind of brand deal. It was a supplement company called EHP Labs, and they were massive, because there was a guy I used to watch on YouTube called Zach Perner. He was one of the ones that got me into the gym as well, and then he was sponsored by them, and then we ended up talking, and I was like, what the hell, like we were talking to one another. I was like, they were talking about flying me out to Australia and all that kind of stuff, and that was, again, they were just kind of selling me a dream, I think. But that kind of fell on its arse pretty quickly. That just kind of never really worked. I didn't really feel like part of the brand or anything like that. And then My Protein had reached out to me, so that was another like massive. It was like, oh my god, that was what all the guys I used to watch, like they had reached out to me, and it was like a massive like, fuck me, man.
It's the validation.
It was the validation.
But you're on the right path.
I kind of wore it like a medal, man, when he reached out to me, and like I was putting the post up and all that. But mate, I've kind of got to a point now where I'm not really asked, mate, if I was sponsored by a company or if I wasn't, mate.
So were you seeking after sponsorship to this point?
Mate, at the start, mate, like when I started growing TikTok, that was what I was kind of chasing, mate. I was always kind of working towards like trying to get, I don't know why, mate, it was just the validation. I didn't even know like they get paid money. I didn't even know like some people were like salaried.
You thought it was just like a
I didn't have
free protein powder.
I just thought you get a wee tap and a wee tub of protein and stuff like that. But it was just the validation of me being able to say, I'm sponsored by My Protein, use my code, put it in my bio and all that kind of stuff. It was that validation.
More legit.
Aye, 100%.
Did you have like any imposter syndrome in starting out?
Yeah, mate, 100%. And I still even get it to this day, mate, 100%, feeling like I just...
Mate, I get it. I've got a fucking gym. I'm like, why should I have a fucking gym?
Literally, mate.
I think it's just part and parcel of like the wee thoughts and demons that come in your mind.
Obviously, where I came from as well, mate, I'm sitting there thinking like, how have I got here? Like when I used to be like that, like what are other people going to think about me, and like they going to think, oh, I bet he thinks he's too good for people and all that now. But mate, that was all the kind of thoughts that always used to run through my head. Where like there was something that kind of held me back. Like I was buzzing to put up the post saying that I'd got the My Protein deal, but there was something in my head as well that I was thinking like, people are going to maybe judge me.
Do you think it was back to that high school?
Yeah, mate, I think so.
Was it high school? When you posted videos?
I think it probably was, mate. Like my brain was probably still just kind of like programmed that way, mate, a wee bit. Like it was like something was holding me back, saying I didn't want to post it because
it's crazy how these scars can actually cut quite deep, man.
Mate, 100%. They're always going to be there.
So let's talk about like the downsides of like social media then. Like what would you say some of the downsides that you've seen? So you mentioned like getting very caught up in the numbers, the metrics, the likes, the comment, the engagement. What's some of the other things that kind of jump out that?
Mate, see, to be honest, obviously there's like hate comments and stuff like that. See, to be honest, I've been out of like, in terms of like people who post content, I've not really had a million, like that much hate. I don't really get that much hate because I've just kind of take the piss on my content. So the people that do hate is some mad guy with an profile picture and I just don't even think twice about it, mate, to be totally honest. I've never had serious moments where it's like, right, I'm taking that comment seriously. Right? Like, I've never reacted to any of it.
Is there any at all that's kind of cut deeper?
Actually, I responded to a comment for the first time ever in Marbella.
Oh, really?
And it was just a guy's... It was just having a laugh, but man, and he was just saying like...
Oh, about you and John?
He was just saying, imagine going on holiday and like spending $3,000 or something to go to Marbella to just use a gym when you could have spent a giant for 30 quid. And I just responded to that, mate, but again, it was nothing bad, mate. I didn't take it maliciously or anything like that, but that is, mate, there's... Like, John's had a pretty bad experience with like hate on TikTok and stuff like that, mate, and I seen the way it got him and stuff like that, mate, so it can hurt, mate. It can really like take you down a kind of dark path, but I've luckily not had anything too serious. I get the odd daft comment here and there about my earring and how skinny my legs are and stuff like that. But aye, mate, you just need to take it with a pinch of salt, man.
It's which I think is quite mad because you just telling your story and your upbringing, that it seems like you're easily influenced and you can be quite erratic and all this sort of stuff. So it's mad that you've got that mindset to like, and I think I'm drawing a guess here, but I would say that the reason you don't react to it is because there's that. It's your passion because you know why you're doing it.
Yeah, mate,
and it's like, cool, I'm going to do my thing.
Yeah, it's like, I see if somebody comments something on my video, like, I don't know, something about me being skinny, right? I'm like, well, I'm no, so, like, do you know what I mean? I don't care. I don't even care. But if somebody genuinely, like, there is, I can't even pinpoint any or remember any, but sometimes you see a wee comment, you're like, it kind of hurts because you know it's true. Like, maybe it's something that you know is true, so that's why it hurts. But if it's something that I'm just like, right, what's that guy even talking about my earring or something like that, I'm just like, shut up, I don't care.
That means you're on the right path, mate. Like, as your self-development journey kind of keeps you in that. It's like, cool, that's just part and parcel of the game. But man, so many people that won't post something, won't share their journey on social media, or won't, whatever it is, do their day in the life of the gym because they're like, my pals are going to slag me, or this is that. And I think that's when you realise that, are they truly your friends if you're going to get slagged for it?
100%, and it's actually quite sad, mate, probably like the amount of wasted potential out there in Scotland and Glasgow. So many people that probably want to start TikTok, want to start a career, want to start a business, but they're just too scared about their pals are going to think about them. Like, there's just that mad like gimp culture in Scotland, mate. That's the best way to describe it. But it's like, if you let the thoughts of others like stop you from doing something, you're forever going to be the prisoner.
Yep.
Like, you're never going to get anywhere. You're going to stay exactly where you are for the rest of your life.
Oh, absolutely.
And if that's not what you want, then you need to just stop listening to other people and stop listening to their opinions.
We hold too much judgment, or we hold too much fear of judgment of others, and it's like, are you really going to care what they think about? If you fast forward 10 years and go, man, I wish I'd done that sooner. Because I bet you, even at the young age you're at, I bet you're going, I wish I'd done this sooner.
Aye, mate, I wish I never done half the stuff I did when I was younger, but
it shapes you.
Aye,
it shapes you.
Mate, it's happened for a reason. It's got me to where I'm at.
So talking about brand deals for a sec, so I'm curious about this. Like, what's been quite a cool moment from like a monetary point of view, where you've been like, fuck no, I didn't realise you can't paid for this.
So with the brand deals that I've kind of had so far, there isn't any that I've had like a big wad of money, a big wad of like a salary or anything like that. Like the way brand deals kind of work at the start is it's just like you get a code and then it's up to you to kind of make the money basically, because you need to promote the stuff, the people need to use your code and stuff like that. So I've just recently like started with a
Define.
That's
cool.
Literally started with them like not even a week, and just like seeing like it's kind of blue sincere, mate. So I can only nothing's really like massively came of it yet, but I could imagine it probably will in the future. And I kind of like working with the company, mate. They're a good company, mate. They're like a Scottish brand, and I that's what I mean. Like, I wouldn't take a brand deal. I wouldn't promote stuff if I didn't like their stuff. If I didn't like believe in the company. If I didn't.
So I think to your question, like what is an influencer? I think that's really the difference. I think influencers will promote anything and everything.
I wouldn't promote something like that's why I left that EHP Labs. I wasn't using their products. Like they would send me stuff and I wouldn't even use it. I would just sit there, and I didn't even like the stuff, and I didn't even I didn't like follow the vision of the brand. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, I'm not going to promote this because I'm telling people to buy something I don't even use. So that would be me being an influencer, because I'd be like, oh, buy this, it's the best thing ever, man, honestly. Like, you was getting into it.
Obviously, making sure that doesn't happen in a couple of years' time. Like, oh, like, this sports bra is great.
And that's even what I said to Define when I went on a call with them. I was like, I'm not like desperate to join you. Like, I'm not going to sit here and beg. I was like, but I like what the brand's all about, so I am all for it.
Good. So you mentioned, like, at the start of this, like, the composite bonding and all that sort of stuff. That must be pretty cool.
That was another one that was like just kind of crazy, mate. It was like, because it's like I'm a PT, I'm an online coach, and then so I had like a manager, mate. I hate even kind of saying that, right? So I had like a woman who was like, she was in the background and she would like send me like, oh, this company wants to work with you, this company wants to work with you, there's this and that. And then I was just like, I think we were actually just having a conversation, and I was just saying like I was looking to get my teeth done, and then it was just like bang, I just get a message, and it was just like, oh, this company wants to do your teeth.
All from the power of like building your presence.
Just like doing so I basically just kind of need to document my whole teeth journey, and they're going to.
But it kind of fits what you're doing, because you're doing a day in the life.
Yeah, mate, exactly.
This man's still squint, man.
It's like the kind of content I do, mate. It's just every single day, mate, I will just talk about something different in my car, so I'm always going to be updating my teeth and stuff like that, mate. And that's what I mean, mate. It's just crazy that I've got to a point where
that can happen.
I can like you can get stuff like this just for being who you are. But I never want to feel like, because I feel like so many people with like followings and stuff like that just feel so entitled, like they deserve things like that. Like, oh, I should get this because I've got a following. Like I would have paid for my teeth, but I got the opportunity because I've got a following. So I was obviously never going to.
That actually didn't even cross my mind, mate. Imagine I was like, here, you want to come on the podcast? I'm like, aye, mate, it's 300 quid.
I was actually going to send you a message just babbing you up and be like, mate, my fee's 5 ton. Alright, this guy's
chance in your luck. So what's TikTok look like now? Are you making money from that then?
So you do make money, mate. And again, it's up to you, like kind of how much money you want to make. So the way it kind of works with like payment and stuff like that, if your video's over a minute long, you get paid like per 1,000 views. So you've got like everyone makes like different amounts off it. You can get like 60p per 1,000 views. But I remember that when I first, like, it showed up that I could apply to start getting monetized, and I was like, oh, class. And I applied for it, and then it told me all the terms and conditions, what I had to do to get paid. And then I posted one of my ADHD videos, mate, and I made like fucking 300, 400 quid off it. Just that one video. And
that's insane.
Like, Jesus Christ, I could make a lot of money. But then that's where all the kind of bad side comes in.
Yeah, I can imagine.
You're like, right, I can make money off this. And if your views aren't doing well, you just start posting a lot of shit, just trying to get viral, trying to make more money. And it was like, my videos weren't doing that well. I was always just trying to chase the next thing, and that's how I veered away for even being on Gym Talk, mate. I wasn't even on it anymore. I was just talking pish.
It's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy. So I can imagine like the balance with that, because you're like, it sounds like there's a deep aspiration from within you, like to be financially free, as you said, but through the means that you want, and you get this instant gratification, this instant part of money. It's like, oh, should I just do this then? It's like, no. Like this doesn't give me passion. This does.
100%, mate. And it's, mate, at the end of the day, like one of my massive passions as well is creating content just as much as it is coaching, mate. Like they go hand in hand, and I love both of them. Like I love making content as well. So the fact I can make money for that as well is obviously cool.
It's good.
But I do just need to remember like what my main purpose was. I don't just want to become a TikToker. I don't want to become an influencer. Because if my coaching went away, then I'm just a influencer, I'm just a guy that makes videos and promotes things, because that would be the only way I would then make money. But I just need to remember, like, I love coaching. Like at one point, if it got to the point where I had to dial down on my coaching a wee bit, I feel like my coaching's always going to be there. But see, if my content just absolutely boomed and there was like opportunities that I couldn't turn down, then obviously I would go for them. Because there is like big opportunities out there with social media and stuff like that, and like I said, like the brand deals, mate, they can pay you a lot of money, mate.
Really? What's like some of them that you've heard of then?
So like some people that I obviously know, mate, like it's upwards of like $5,000 in that, like a month, for just like to,
couple of shout outs.
Just to like work exclusively with the brand.
Right.
So that like say for example, My Protein wanted to work exclusively with you, they would pay you a salary, but you wouldn't be able to promote anyone else's stuff. You would work exclusively with
like them. Anything at all, like from
in terms of like if it was for like clothes, like
clothes and protein and whatever,
they would say like, right, you can't promote any other. If another clothing company comes to you, you can't promote them. So that'd be the way it works. So, but I just need to remember that is my main purpose. That is the main reason of how I make money. So that's what I'm always going to have there. I'm not going to ever let it disappear.
Good. what's some of your bugbears with like the TikTok scene then? So the Scottish TikTok scene's like, I don't know, sometimes I feel like you've got like Kaz Milligan on one side and all the like all that like boxing scene, and then the other side you've got like the gym talk side, the stuff that like you, John, who's the other guy, Ryan, I see his videos sometimes, and there's another boy as well. Like there isn't many these guys.
This is me and John were
standing toe to toe
the other day, because John has the exact same problems, mate. He's doesn't really post much about the gym because he gets caught down that rabbit hole of trying to get views, trying to get likes and try to get followers. And then we were just talking the other day, there's a massive gap in Scotland. There's guys down in England, like, you don't know if you know much of them, mate.
Yeah, no, I follow them.
Smashing it, mate. Like, genuinely smashing the gym scene. And I was like, mate, there is a massive gap up here.
What do you think of like Jack's Fitness and all that sort of stuff?
Mate, at the end of the day, like, the boys are, like, it's controversy gets views, man, and they're all just being controversial and just, but they're all genuinely smashing it, mate. Like, people can have their opinions.
Have you crossed paths with any of them?
There's a couple of boys down in England that we have spoke to,
right.
And it's just a case of like just being free enough to actually go down and film some content with them. But mate, there's a massive gap in Scotland for it that I want to fill. Genuinely.
Have you and John spoke about this, like, for what are you guys do any sort of strategy?
Yeah, mate, so
like
that? we have like a YouTube channel together that it's like, mate, again, YouTube's like another career even in itself, mate. It's like you go through a spell of we just smashed it for a couple of months, and then it just, like, I was busy with coaching, busy with my own content, busy with my Instagram, busy with life, and busy with like personal issues and stuff like that. And then John was the exact same, and then it's just kind of took a back seat. We went to obviously Marbella, and we were like, right, this is us, mate. This is gonna fucking, our YouTube channel's going to pop. I think we done one video while we were earlier because we'll just bust off the time.
You're like, this club looks good, let's try here first. We'll do that in the morning.
Literally, mate, but it is, mate. It's,
should I seen you try to film with your toes or something like that with the camera?
Mate, it was, but mate, YouTube is such a slow burner, mate. It's unlike TikTok,
it's a grind.
So much, like, you can't just post a YouTube video and it just pops, and then that's you get 10,000 followers or 50,000, mate. It's
they're all like interconnected in a way. It's like, how do you funnel and feed them through from one part to the other?
Yeah.
So what's some of your big goals then, like from coaching to the following that you're built to the social media side of things? What's some goals that you've got?
So my goals with like my coaching is I want to get to a point where I've got like a team, like coaches working under me, and like I want my brand to be like that was one thing that Chris Bradley kind of, like, my mentor helped me with, was just actually opening my eyes to seeing that I was playing such small game. I thought I was just going to be, even though I was kind of happy with that at the time, mate, I was like, I was a coach, had clients, I was paying my car, I was comfortable, had a wee bit of money in the bank, and they just kind of opened my eyes to like show me what was actually possible. And that was how like I had my rebrand, so I went for like Sean McCarthy coaching. Now it's now totally transformed, and it's now a point where I just want to build that brand up to like a.
So what does that brand stand for?
Like, so at the moment, like the type of clients that we look to work with is like people who are just kind of stuck in a hamster wheel with the gym, because that was me for quite a period. Like I said, I built up a pretty decent physique, but I was just going round in circles, mate. I didn't know anything. I didn't have a clue what I was doing, so that meant like I wasn't seeing any progress. I was just kind of going round in circles.
You hit that flat bit.
And I was just like doing the same exercises, and then it was making me lose interest. That's how I had a wee period where I was just like, right, I'm not interested in this anymore. I'm not seeing any more progress. So that's the kind of people I like to help, mate, is just like people who are like, they've been going to the gym for years, they're not really seeing any progress, and then we just kind of give them a bit of direction and just show them like what is actually possible, where you can actually take this, because some of our clients have went for that point and they've been at a point where they're just gone round in circles, they're not seeing any progress, their work's consuming their life, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And then they've got to a point where it's like widespread, and it's like, yes, they've got in shape, but they're now living a better life. They've got a promotion in work.
So no, you're a fine.
My hand in front of that. But they've got a promotion in work, and that's what I mean. Like,
seeing how fitness can open up their life.
It can genuinely open so many doors for you. And just showing them what's possible, mate. So that's the type of people we obviously work with anyone, but that's the type of people we like to help, mate. And like I said, I want to really focus on trying to just build my brand, build a team, and looking at bringing coaches on to help me build that brand that obviously see my vision as well.
No, that's good. And this has obviously came from the mentorship exposure and that sort of stuff. Who in the space just now are you looking at and like really like what they're doing?
Mate, I would say actually, obviously Alex that you had on last week, mate, I would say like MTN is just like something you can look at and you just need to go like, wow.
Yeah, he's built a good brand.
Like, built an absolute monster, and it's like...
David's in tomorrow, actually.
Is he? I've had a few brief words with that with him, mate, but you've just got to respect like what that is came to, and that's what I mean by there is genuinely
space.
like, you have no idea how far you can take this, and I still feel like I'm playing small game now, like, because of where I could actually grow my brand to. So yeah, mate, like, looking at them, mate, that's like something that's obviously wild, because they've built a good team and they're all so close. Like, it's like I could hire a wee woman for Vietnam to come and work with me, and that could be my team. But at the end of the day, I want to have someone that, like, I've already been looking at, like, one of my good clients. Like, I feel like I'm a wee bit away from it, but one of my clients who's like been with me since the start, basically, got one of my best transformations with him, and he just sees the vision with me. So he's going to
plant the seed.
Yeah, we've already had a conversation about him coming on board, because that's what I mean. He started with me and he was overweight, no idea what he was doing in the gym, going around in circles, trying it here and there, and he's got to a point where he lost, obviously, all his weight. He's in better shape, done a photo shoot. He got a promotion at work. I'm not saying I had anything to do with that, right, but he got a promotion at work, and then he was like, right, I want to become a coach now. He loves the gym, and he just sees where my brand's going, and that's where he's obviously going to come in at some point in the brand. So that gives me a lot of excitement as well, mate, for where it's going to go, because, like, MTN, mate, you can see how close-knit they all are. They all get it. They all get the brand. So that's what I want, mate.
Would there be anything within you that makes you want to work with them for a wee while to see how they work, or is that you kind of on your own path?
I feel like at this stage, I'm like, I always want to I want to be the CEO, man. You know what I mean? I want to be the gaffer, mate. But nah, it was...
Do you think that comes from insecurity as well? There's not, like, I think we're all driven with that.
Mate, like... I
always wonder that, like, it's like, obviously bringing in, like, let's say, bringing in 10k per month, pretty good achievement. Bringing in 100k per month, which you see, and it's like, oh, okay, you're bringing in 100k, but you're only taking home 5, and it becomes like, what's the need for that? Obviously, to impact more lives and all this sort of stuff. But it seems like that's a lifestyle that you're completely committed to.
Yeah, mate, like 100%. Like, and that's how, when I was playing small game, mate, at the start, when I was just coaching, I was just like comfortable getting by. I maybe would have even got to a point, like, see if somebody came to me and said, right, do you want to be a coach working under me? I'll pay you this much. I'd be like, suits me, mate, as long as it pays my car and I can go out and I can eat what I want, I can just live a wee cushy life. But then as soon as I kind of, like, started with my mentor, he showed me what was possible, seen other people and where they'd went from to...
Yeah, because you got, like, Christian, Lewis and all that
mate,
sort of
like,
stuff.
literally seeing where all these guys started, seeing, like, the testimonials. And then as soon as I done my rebrand, and it was like, right, I've got a company now, I'm a limited company, it was just like, right,
it's real.
This is mine, real, mate. This is mine, and it was just like, all I ever think about now is just how I'm going to scale this, mate. That's all I ever think about. I love just building things that I know that are going to scale it, mate.
What do you think's the difference between people who make it and people who don't?
That's a hard one, man. I think it's just all down to genuine, just consistency to whatever planet is you're in. Because I've felt it myself. Like, recently, I go through wee peaks and troughs, as everyone does, mate. Had a lot of momentum when I done my rebrand, and then I felt like I've just went flat a wee bit. And it's like, I could either get to this point where I'm flat and just stay exactly where I am, or I need to just get back on track and stay consistent, mate. And it is always just about, like, you're going to run into setbacks. Like, I ran into a setback recently, obviously went through a breakup and stuff like that. And
is that what happened recently?
Recently, mate. So I went through a breakup, and it was at a point where, like, the reason why I done it was because, like, I felt like I was too busy with work.
Nice, I was going separate paths.
And it was just going separate ways. I felt like it wasn't fair on my partner, and then we ended, and then it just kind of made things a wee bit worse, because then it was like I wasn't focusing on work as much anymore. Do you know what I mean? So I gone down a rabbit hole.
No. Anyway, like, I had a question to, like, branch off from that. So you posted recently, kind of going out for dinner yourself and all that, and how you struggled being in your own company. What's the decision like, where having someone in your corner, but then realising that, I don't know, there's this other thing that you want to focus on that's going to, it gives you more drive and more purpose? Because I always, like, James has said this before, and when I speak to people, like, when you're working on, whether it's a bodybuilding show or whether it's yourself or your business, it's like a 24/7 type of thing. And your partner that you're with by default needs to be committed to that at the same time. Doesn't need to help you with it, but needs to understand that there's going to be days on end where you might not be there 100%, but that's down to you to work on that.
And it was a real tough decision for me, mate, because, like I said, she played a massive part in helping me, like, build at the start and helping me stay away from distractions and just build kind of helped me a lot at the start. And then it felt like I was like, right, am I pure abandoning her now? But it was like, it just wasn't fair, mate. It wasn't fair on, like, where I was going and stuff like that, mate. So I had things I wanted to achieve, and it was just like, I felt like I just had to go for them, man. But like veering back to the question, I'm just, what was the question again?
So like just being on yourself now. So you obviously you had someone
I obviously, like ever since the breakup, I think that's how I kind of feel that way, is I've always just been in relationships. I've always been in relationships with girls. I would come out of a relationship and go straight back into one, come out one and go straight back into one. So I've never really been alone. I was always in pal groups, and then I've never really been at a point where it was just me, myself. And I came out of this relationship and it's like I've constantly have to be texting someone, be with someone. When I was in the house myself, say I'd finish my work at night, I'd go live on TikTok because I couldn't just sit in my room myself. So I was like, so many points I would come off the live and I would finish the live and I'd be like, what did I do? It was like, it was such a sad feeling, mate, to be totally honest. Like,
what is it you're feeling?
Mate, it was like genuine loneliness, mate. It was like genuine loneliness. Like I had nobody to, I just couldn't be in my own company, mate, and it was just so weird. I felt like I just had to have someone there all the time. So I did just set myself the task. I kind of just went on TikTok and I just made a video and I was like, I'm just going to start documenting how I'm going to go do things on my own. And I never actually done anything about it. I was never doing anything. I went to go and, it was the last time I was in a dentist. I went to go in and I was like, I'm going to go into a place myself. I'm going to sit, I'm going to have my lunch myself. I see people doing it all the time and I'm like, fair play, man, that takes a massive amount of balls. And I see it as a massive trait in someone if they can enjoy their own company. And then I walked into, was it Shugo Pasta, walked in and just walked to the guy and just turned around and walked right back out. I went, that was probably worse than actually just going in and sitting down. And then I just set myself the task. I was like, right, I want to just go and do something myself just to actually learn how to just sit myself and do something. And the other day I just went out for lunch / dinner myself and just sat there and I was like, amazing, mate. I had such a good day myself until actually I walked out. Where was it I went to Oro, walked out Oro and some guy tried to fight with me, so he just pure brought my fucking...
Oh, what? No way.
It's very good, mate. So I literally had such a mad wee wholesome day myself, right? So I'd been out to get my hair cut and all that, and I was out and had a good wee day, went a walk, went into Oro, had something to eat and I left, mate, feeling genuinely like so class, mate. I had a big smile on my face and I was going to finish making my video and all that, telling everyone that I'd done it. And then a guy just bumped into me and started trying to square go me outside the Oro and I was like, ruined my day, mate.
Oh my God, what is the chances of that?
Swear to God, that's just Glasgow, mate. He just bumped into me and he was like, how about you like that? And I was just like, mate, you just ruined my day, mate. Cheers.
It's mad because you probably, like, I think if people don't know you, and I think this is great, like, obviously I appreciate you coming on the podcast and stuff, popping your podcast share, but actually hearing your story, it's like, oh, he's not a wee bam, he's not a wee nerd or whatever it is, because like you said, the roughness, maybe like how you speak. So you're probably, I'd imagine you maybe said, sorry mate, or whatever, and he's like, how the fuck you talking to?
Mate, it was like one of the situations I felt like I wasn't getting out of it. It was just bumped into me. He's like, what you doing? But I was like, mate, you bumped into me, and then he was like, what you looking at? And I was like, what, mate, look at the grin here. Like, normally you look at somebody when you're talking to them, and then mate, it was just pure ruined my mood. But mate, it was, like going back to the original point, mate, it was genuinely like, I feel like so many people actually struggle with it, mate.
Oh yeah, for sure.
100%. And it genuinely made me feel so much better because now I don't feel like I need to depend on someone if I want to go do something. Like, see, if I wanted to go for an Nando's, if I wanted to go to the shop, I had to phone one of my pals. I would be like, oh, do you want to come to Zara with me? Do you want to come to Nando's with me? If they said no, then I wasn't going. Do you know what I mean? Like, I couldn't just go and do things myself, mate. Because I was like, something in me is just like, I think I've never been like diagnosed or nothing like that, but I think I struggle quite a lot with a lot of anxiety, mate, because like I'm always thinking about being places myself. What am I doing in that moment?
Being jumped randomly in the street.
But it's weird, mate, how my brain just processes things when I'm just sitting like standing in a queue. I'm like, how am I standing right now? Like, how am I holding my phone? Am I standing awkwardly? Like, mate, it's mental.
I need to, honestly, like after this, I need to connect you with James, man, because literally, when I say like from outside in, I made a good guess that you two were the same people. Like everything that you were saying you're going through just now, he's went through it recently as well. Like he talks about going home at night and the loneliness and all that sort of stuff, not enjoying his own company. I'm like, this is mad. It's like kind of reliving that same story.
It's tough, mate, but I know that so many people, more people, because I bet you so many people struggle with it, but they can't even pinpoint it. That's why I see these communities in that are building. Like that's why they're so needed now. Yeah, mate. It was like I couldn't even pinpoint like what was actually kind of wrong with me, mate. It was just like it was actually John kind of helped pinpoint it with me. It was like, mate, you need to just take some time away from your phone. You need to learn how to be yourself, because I was constantly just needing to be with somebody, needing to go somewhere with somebody, needing to text somebody, needing to be on live. Couldn't just sit myself. But now I feel like that was a massive step in the right direction for me. I feel like if I wanted to go out for something to eat, I can just go myself. I've done it. If I want to go to the shops, I can go to the shops myself. But I just had to remember, and this is what like John said to me, it was a massive kind of eye-opener. everything I preach to my clients and my content about going to the gym for the first time, I'm like, nobody's looking at you, blah, 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 blah.
It's on your head.
I was like, it's on your head, and I just need to take my own advice and just go and do this. And mate, it was genuinely, it helped so much, mate. So I feel like I'm
on that right path.
Actually able to sit myself.
Well, they say like from an ADHD perspective, it's that chase of dopamine, that chase of hit. So being on your phone, being in that, and like the silence and that, you're obviously it's referred to as loneliness, but generally that silence, it doesn't seem like you've had much space of that. What's it like when you go out like climbs and hill climbs and that? Are you constantly like yapping going up the hill, or is it like moments
that was actually, we went to Glencoe yesterday, mate. So I went there yesterday, and there was one point I remember, like, I believe John and my pal Nicky have actually got a video of it, like they're doing something, and then they just zoom over to me, and I'm just standing staring at the water, and there was one point where it was just like
deep in thought.
Aye, mate, I was just thinking about everything, and it was like, mate, that was so good for me yesterday, mate, just being up there and just thinking about stuff.
You need more of that space, and I've referred to like the loneliness part, so I have it from a different perspective. Like, I'm 12 years in a relationship, and we're married, like we live together, all that sort of stuff, but I've seen it from a different side, that when Jules went away to like when she had our job and I had the house for a few days, I was like, wow, like I actually don't know what loneliness is. Like loneliness is actually doing me good from a space point of view, because like you said, you got to go, wow, I've never really thought about my business this way. I've never really thought about my coaching this way. Oh, I could be doing this, I could be doing that. It's like, where the fuck is all these ideas coming from? Because life can be so noisy in the moment, when there are like so many distractions in that.
100%, and that's actually where, like, with the loneliness, like I do actually have it sometimes, like, and I actually get through it sometimes, and it's always when I'm lying in bed at night. See, when I go to turn my phone off, that's when ideas start pinging to me, and I always wake up, mate, like my notes on my phone's crazy. I'm lying there at night, and then I'm pinging up, and mate, my notes are I just start writing video ideas for my business, like hundreds of stuff, and that's when a day start thinking. But it's just about actually being able to just sit there, like, even without my phone, I couldn't even.
It just feels like a crux.
Aye, like I went and bought I can't read, right, but I can't really read like books and stuff like that. I can't really listen to even podcasts, mate. I can't really listen to audiobooks. I struggle with it quite a lot, mate, because I went and bought a book, and I was like, right, at night I'm going to turn my phone off, and I'm just going to start reading a book. Mate, can't even read a book, right, because like, even the way, like, I think just my brain, like,
you're reading the words and like, oh, what's that word there?
With a book, mate, I'm like reading with my finger, right, but then I'll get like 3 lines down, then I'll read the same line again, and then it's like I'll get halfway down the page, but I've been focusing that much on each line. I'm like, what the fuck's this book even about? You know what I mean? In the same way, like, even podcasts, mate, like, obviously I'll try my best to like,
listen to your own one back.
But mate, with podcasts it's a wee bit easier, but it's like I just get so, if I put it on in my car, mate, I'm just too busy looking at what's going on out the window, and then I'm like, right, what's this guy talking about? And I'm putting it back to the start. Listen to the start of a podcast about
I've heard this intro so many times. No, I think that's probably one thing that you'll probably will be the next chapter in your growth spell, is like how you like tackle that. But it's great to see you like trying it.
That is my next kind of focus. Obviously I've got business goals, I've got training goals, like everything like that, mate, but my main kind of focus for the rest of the year, mate, is just like how to actually grow myself as an individual, because at the end of the day, that's the only person who's like whose opinion I value, mate, is myself and stuff like that. And if I don't even enjoy my own company, then
who will?
Aye, who will, mate? Do you know what I mean?
What's some of the goals and not goals, sorry. What's some of the habits and traits that you're going to try and implement on a daily, weekly basis just now? You've thought about that,
mate? I feel like just no going live on TikTok, mate. Like, because
was it that? Were you mate, going that
was
often?
Something I was like doing just constantly, and that was what made John kind of notice, I think.
You doing NPC shit and all that?
Mate, I was
Spider-Man Miles.
But mate, it was just like I would finish my work, obviously talking to clients and all that, so that kind of kept me busy all through the day. I obviously need to do that, and then it would just come to night, and it would be like I've finished my work now, and I would just go live, just because I was sitting in my room and I couldn't sit myself. So just like I go live for a purpose sometimes. Obviously I'd like to just sometimes if I actually want to do it, but then like just stopping stuff like that, just feeling like I just needed to be texting someone every 2 seconds, mate. Like genuinely, I was just never off my phone for about 3 weeks there, just texting new people every 2 seconds. So yeah, my main kind of goals with that is just to like actually sit and just sit myself. I want to also go like a solo holiday as well. That's a kind of massive goal.
You should speak to James. He just done his first one.
Oh, did he? Aye, that was what I was going to jump into. Instead of doing the solo dinner, I was going to just book a flight and just be like, right, I'm going somewhere. But I was like, baby steps.
It's going straight into a bodybuilding competition, but no lifting weights.
Go and walk back. I'm not going to walk into the airport. I can't walk off a plane, can I?
No, that'll be good to see how that evolves and that sort of stuff.
It's kind of like I just want to let it grow, but like I see people and like or I speak to someone and it's like they just go out themselves, they do these things themselves. I'm like, mate, that's amazing. Like you can just go and do things yourself, because if I really, really wanted to do something, so I really want an Nando's, or I really want to go to the cinema and see this movie, they do wanted to go with me, I'd be like, can I go then? But just being able to go and do things myself, mate, I see that as a massive trait, mate.
Aye, for sure. And you said it earlier on, so many people do struggle with that, and it's it's weird. It's weird to like how we hold ourselves back, because again, it's like everybody's looking at me and nobody is.
Mate, exactly, mate. It's like I went in there and I was just like looking about. I actually seen a boy that I like knew of him, and he was sitting, and I was like looking to see like, is he looking at me like what's he doing himself, mate? Nobody even batted an eyelid, mate. I just sat there, I was on my phone, I ate my dinner, I paid for it and I left, and that was it, mate. Nobody even batted an eyelid. I think one of my clients actually said this to me, like when I was saying about going on a solo trip, she was like, people actually talk to you. People, like, if you were maybe a pal, they would just like kind of go, right, do you want a drink? Do you want something to eat? Like, there you go, cheers. Whereas if you're yourself, like the waiter actually spoke to me, asked what I was up to that day, asked what I was up to after it, what you doing, and it was like I actually had a conversation. Whereas if I was maybe with somebody, they probably wouldn't even talk to me. You know what I mean? So it's like people actually want to talk to you because you are yourself and they're interested a wee bit. So
I think there's a reason that personal trainers and coaches do so well, and it's because you have a trait within you that you can easily speak to anyone, and I guess there might be a people pleaser within you, but that is a skill as well. It can be like a power that you can then tap into and use it to your advantage when you're on these sort of solo trips and that. That's good.
It's something I'm 100% going to do. Like, I even like told my mum and dad and that about it, and like even them like seeing me kind of doing this journey, like they said it was obviously hard for them to see, because I posted that video and it kind of seemed as if I was pure down in the dumps. I get so many messages off people like, hope you're all good, mate, hope you're all right, but I wasn't even like majorly upset by it. It was just a kind of feeling a kind of emptiness. I felt a bit lonely, and I was like doing my job and then finishing, and then like I was like, I've got nothing, man, other than my work and my life. I can't do it myself. It was just a bit feeling emptiness and loneliness, and but it kind of feels like it kind of went away now, mate, ever since like just doing something as simple as going for dinner myself.
Yeah, I think you're going to have probably another low day at some point.
Exactly.
What would you say your mental health is in a good space?
Yeah, mate, I would say I've luckily never really dealt with like any feelings of like depression, like anything like that, mate. I've had very, very low points. Like I said, the point when I like broke my hand, I just felt like I was at the lowest of the low. But at that point, I would never say I've really struggled with mental health issues. It is kind of a bit of a tough subject, but because like I'm branded as the ADHD guy, I'm branded as the loudest guy in the room. So it's like people just maybe think you never really struggle with anything, but that was what made it hard for me at that point of loneliness, because everyone, like, I felt like John and that maybe didn't even want to like check up on me. My pals maybe didn't want to check up on me because they were just like, he's full of beans all the time, mate, he's cool. But then they didn't see what was happening when I was in my bed at night myself, and I was
with the extreme high has to come the extreme
exactly
low.
Mate. It was like a day of just me being full of beans with all my pals, hanging about with them all day, and then that just disappears. I finish the live chat and then I'm in my bed and I'm like, loneliness, darkness, like just quietness, and I was like, what's going on here, man?
Aye. Well, it's good that you're kind of working through it. Do you think you'll ever like do therapy or anything like that? Do you think that's something that...
To be honest, I was actually, like, one of my close mates, Donald, like, he's got like a life coach, and he was saying like he thought that would have been class for me, but I'd never ever even followed it through. But I might actually just give it a...
So James and Gavin, they speak very... I've never done it personally. Alex was on, he spoke about it. I think everybody's going to have their own journey with it, and whatever you see it, whatever you can get out of it, whether it's like a couple of sessions, whether it's 8 sessions, whatever it ends up being, I think you'll get a benefit from it. But I think you've kind of taken that, you've done something that's probably the most important thing, is actually taking action on something and doing something about it, rather than just going, fuck man, I really don't like how this makes me feel, so I'm going to use a distraction to get it out of the way. That was like the moment I had, mate, because I kept, like I said I was going to do it. Said I was going to do these things, right? I'm going to do something I'm on. Never done anything about it for weeks. And then I kept saying, like, it's just weird. I would like finish the gym and then I'd be like, right, I'm going to go for food myself. And then when I do it, I would just drive past a place and I would drive home.
And then I woke up and I had the feeling, and I just went, right, I just need to, because motivation's good, but it's like, what are you doing with that motivation? Are you going to take action? So I just had to go and do it.
Aye.
And I even said to John, I went, right, I'm going. I was like, see if I come back and I've not done it, I'm transferring you 50 quid. So I was like, I just went and done it, mate. And I believe that goes with anything in life. Like, if you've got a bit of motivation, you're going to get motivated all the time to do things, but it's like, what are you doing with it? You take
use it when it's there, because it's something that's
it's not always going to be there. You know what I mean?
What are you going to do when it's not there? Like, what do you think?
Go live.
Just distract myself.
But no, mate, I genuinely just feel like it was like it was the same kind of feeling as like when I handed my notice in. Like, it felt like a wee kind of weight off my shoulders, wee kind of handcuffs off, and I was just like, I don't need to rely on him.
Definitely need to get deeper into that for sure. Then,
aye, 100%, mate. It felt like that same kind of feeling. Like, I was like, I've done it, mate. Like, I genuinely left Oro with like the biggest cheeser on my face ever, mate, and it was just like a simple going out for lunch myself just made me feel that elevated, mate. It was wild.
And you should try. I mean, it depends how responsible you think you're. Like, going a hill climb yourself, though.
Mate,
like,
well, John actually,
because he's that's really where his journey came from.
Aye, so he actually, like, he had a moment like the other day. I thought he was in his room. Like, I always wake up early, mate. I'm productive in the morning, he's productive in the night, so we're like pure polar opposites. Right. And I was up and like his bedroom door was shut, and it was like later on at night and his bedroom door was still shut, and I was like, where is he? Right, and then I opened his door and his covers and all that were gone, and he just went up to Glencoe, spent the night up in Glencoe.
Oh yeah, I seen that.
And he just done that, and he just like turns his phone off, and I was like, I wish I could do that, but he was like, mate, it would work wonders for you.
I think you should try. You should try the climb. Got like, at least come back, and then see how that was first
right, catches. But no, mate, that as soon as I done that, I just started thinking about like, what else can I do now? Because I felt like I could just kind of go into anything now.
It sounds like you've kind of kept yourself like shackled for so long.
Mate, I was just like, I don't know what I was. As soon as I get in and sat down, like literally sat down and sat at the table, I went, why was I so scared of doing this? Like, genuinely, I was just sitting at a table and I was just on my phone and just even. I was looking about to see if people were looking at me, and nobody even batted an eye. Nobody looked at me twice. Like, it wasn't even
good. So what's it like living with John? Like, what's it like living? So this is your first time moving out of the house?
Yeah.
Have you moved out before?
No. Well, I'd actually moved out before, but it wasn't like my own place. I moved in with one of my mates for it was just like a couple of months, but that was just carnage, man, to be totally honest. And then
best thing for you to go back
to my mum's, and then the only reason I moved out was because me and John were like, I was actually thinking about getting my own place, John was thinking about getting his own place, but what I would have spent on a place for myself, he would have had a dinky place, and we would have still had to drive to come and meet one another. I was like, why don't we get a place together? We could get a nicer place. And it felt amazing. Like, that was another massive like achievement, fulfilling moment, like getting my own place. And mate, to be honest, living together, like, we don't actually see one another that much. Like, we genuinely don't.
It's probably better though.
I work, he works, and we'll sit and we'll have like a munchie and that together, and that's kind of about it, mate. We're no like just sitting in there watching the telly, doing the dishes together and that on horns.
As the TikTok comments would say,
exactly. Oh mate, the amount of comments, like that wasn't like, again, that was like hate comments, but I never took them. I never even listened to them because I know it's not true, mate. But just like thinking about us coming out and all that kind of stuff. So, mate, that's another actual funny story. It's just leading me on to. So, I don't know if you would have actually seen it on my Instagram, but I posted a picture when it was my first night out. I had not been out in months. Right. I posted a picture on my Instagram, and it was a picture of me and my pal. And this picture, it wasn't even meant to be in there. It was a picture of me kissing my pal, right? And then, mate, the caption, mate, was just didn't go along well with it, right? So I put announcement. Yes, I'm a human. I am out. Like, meaning.
All right, your brain just went to that.
I hadn't been out for a night out in months, mate. I'd just been working, and I was like, I'm a human. I'm out. And then everyone, they've just seen a picture of me kissing my pal, me saying I'm out. Mate,
it's like, yeah, he's wearing a wee bit. Is he wearing blushers?
We were in a place in Ashton Lane, and then it was like somebody come up to me and went, have you seen your Instagram photo? Been up for half an hour and it had like 1,800 likes. I was like, oh no, and my dad phoned me. My dad phoned me and goes, no, but was it my dad? I can't mind, right? And like, I was just hearing like everyone just saying like congratulations. I was like, oh, congratulations, like well done for coming out and all that. So I mean, that was.
So you told everyone you're gay.
Everyone thought I was gay. And people were like, well done, that takes so much courage as well. Like,
what are you talking about?
I was like, I'm out. What are you talking about?
Then you moved in with John. You're like,
and then I moved in with John, and then. I'd moved in with John before that, but mate, the amount of comments we just get like, I use a couple, you use good, and we just kind of played on it a wee bit, mate. It was kind of.
Too right, monetize it.
Exactly. But that was like
cool.
The hate we were getting, and I was just like, I know it's not true, so I don't.
What's like the maddest thing that's happened for like have a social media following? What's like up there with some of them Maddest stuff.
Mate, to be honest, I would say probably that was quite a mad moment, mate, because I just didn't think that would ever.
Is there any like mad stuff that you've got in terms of like DMs or stuff like that? It seems like
there's been quite a few, like, I can't even pinpoint them, mate, to be totally honest, but even though it's like no a really big thing, mate, I've been on that Scottish party like
I see that all the time.
5 times, mate. That was
talking about ham.
That was just mate, that's another thing, like, see, obviously, like, what I initially built my following for, like, I tell you, right, I built it to build my coaching business, to help people, right, and then I'm going in night suit, I'm going out in Glasgow, and people are like, there's that ham guy. So I'm like, right, nobody even knows I'm an online coach. I'm just known as the ham guy, mate.
And you get sponsored with like wafer ham or something like that.
Wafer ham or something.
No, I love it. But look, mate, thanks very much for coming on. It's been 2 hour chat, man. It's like yapping away. You've done great.
Going to sit still for 2 hours, mate.
I'm actually surprised you've no touched the mic.
Mate, I'm absolutely going to explode when I get outside. Just start doing
bouncing away that. Aye, well, we've got that to do next time.
We drove to yesterday, mate, and I was like, John had to like. We laughed me and end up driving because I was like, I couldn't sit still for 2 hours, so I'm very surprised I've sat here.
Yeah, maybe podcasting is your next venture you need to go for. Well, listen, thanks for coming on. I'll shout you at the start and all your socials and stuff like that, and your wee code for Define that as well.
Code Sean Define. It's SPM at My Protein. Get on that.
Sorted. Cheers.